Volume up. Welcome, everybody. We are live and in full effect.
Happening, everybody?
What's good?
Welcome, everybody, to episode 13 of Sundays, and we finally have made it here to our hip-hop discussion panel, the first of what is going to be many, likely. We have a set group of topics that we would like to discuss that we are likely not going to get in all the way through in one stream. Before we get started, I want to welcome everybody here and welcome all the new subscribers, as the algorithm is favoring the vinyl as the resurgence of vinyl that we will get into, because it's also a part of this conversation. But before we get into the weeds of the conversation, I would like to introduce not only our esteemed host, but our guests as well, starting with I Am the One Son. We got T-Sketch Beats, Reconsiderate Music Sketchpad, also known as Recon. We got Creaxing in the house, and we have Apollo HANZO joining in the conversation. So welcome, everybody. And if we could just go around, I guess, just starting with Son and going up the list or whatever, and we'll just go down. Everybody can make their introductions, and while you're at it, throw around your you don't have to flash your hip-hop credentials or anything like that, but just kind of let people know, like, your relationship to hip-hop and all that other stuff. So, I'll go last, Son, you go first. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Great to see everybody out there in the zeitgeist in YouTube land. I am the One Son. And as you know, this is Sundays, with the Sun, with my man, of course, Viral Beats, as we always do. And we're so happy to be able to have everyone else, some of our good people, buddies, friends, family, join us today so we can have this epic discussion about hip hop, one of many to come. And so, I've been in the business, you could say, for a long time. I grew up in hip hop, we're talking like late 1970s going into today, but I am not actively really in the business. I am a huge fan, enthusiast still, musician, beat maker, all those kind of things, scratch DJ, all that. However, I am mostly an observer of this great world that we have, and I write books. What I do. I write books, I speak, and I like to educate people. So, plus I'm, shallow as a mud puddle too. So, but that's all there is about me. You guys already know it.
Glad you got to throw that one in there. All right, T-Sketch.
Yo, I don't even know. Let me see if my sound, hold on. I think it's good.
I could hear you.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
All right.
They could hear you.
Because I'm live on my channel. What's up, y'all?
Yeah.
My name is
Nice.
T Sketch. I am from Queens, New York. I currently live in the Midwest in
Me
Nebraska.
and T Sketch.
I am a hip hop artist first and a producer second. I love hip hop. I love music in general. I've been doing it for a very long time. Next year, I'll be producing for 20 years. And I've been rhyming for longer, so that tells my age. But
Yeah, and she's dope too.
And,
I'm just gonna say that. Super dope.
yeah, I'm just here excited for the conversation. You know, I'm here because of Viral Beats and Sun. And yeah,
It's good
I'm
to
ready
have
for
you.
it.
And for those who don't know out there, T Sketch, she did the production on the last track that we put out there. So we'll get into that later, not in any kind of self advertisement or anything like that. But we really appreciate having you here, Most Def. And I love
Man.
hanging out with you on Saturdays. It's just become the soundtrack to our Saturdays. For
Indeed. Word. Bravo.
All the way up until like it's 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning over here, so it's like 3 or 4 over there. And the time comes, it's like, damn, 7.5 hours again.
So, Varro,
you do the
I'm
damn
trying to
thing.
figure something out. How did you manage to get two people from Queens up in the same spot like this, dog? Like,
It's just, it's this hip hop connection.
Crazy.
It's this hip hop connection, and we'll get into that in a second. Let's go around the room.
and I
here.
mean, like, literally from like basically the same hood too. That is just, yeah, that's crazy.
Life
That's
is
crazy.
life is strange. Yeah,
It
it's
is.
dope though, because like this is the kind of thing, and the things that lead us to this conversation, and this is becoming such a big conversation, not only in the zeitgeist. That's not why we're doing this, because we were going to have this conversation before all this zeitgeist stuff came about,
Yep.
And it's just crazy that as we develop in our hip hop proclivities, all of a sudden there's this, renewed attention and this, resurgence seemingly of, interest in hip hop. And it just happens to be the exact genre that we are functioning in for the most part. So it's great to have varying degrees of, different people and diversity over here. And we cannot have this stream without a female who's been in the game and just killing it and doing great, just all the way through here in the game. So, yeah.
That
How
was
about
Rob's
you,
way of saying
Recon?
you a badass T Sketch. You
Yeah.
badass.
Appreciate
we'll get
y'all.
into that.
I'm just doing my piece. That's all. I'm just giving back the love that hip hop saved me. So I wouldn't be
Same.
here right
For
now if it
real.
wasn't for hip hop. So
For real.
I gotta put my art out, and I gotta keep cooking and keep creating no matter what. Like I said, I always tell people I'm gonna be the rapping granny. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's what's
I'ma
up.
be rapping.
Be it.
Legendary.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah. How about
Hey,
you,
hey, let's
Recon?
get to the rest of the intros though.
How about you,
Everybody else,
Recon?
we gotta.
Reconsider It Music Sketchpad. And everybody
well
here,
done.
we have in the description, we have the links. Everybody's tagged. So first and foremost, everybody watching this, make sure you subscribe to everybody's channels here, because everybody's functioning in some way or another here in these YouTube streets. And if you go on their channels, they have some awesome content
Except
related
me.
to the subject
Except
at
me.
hand.
So let's be clear. So
you'll be there.
I have zero content, guys.
Yeah.
I have been really concentrating on my books, plural, and these guys are all helping me now build my content. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
Love you guys. And
We still see that
With
NPC
no further
back
ado,
there.
Brother Recon. Yeah, so my name is Reconsider It, or Recon, as usually people call me, because it's way shorter. I am indeed an artist, as Viral alluded to. I'm a musician, rapper. I do live looping, beatbox, improvise on my live streams. I would like to be a rapping old guy. I don't know what the
like it.
version of a
like it.
rapping old lady would be. Also, who was from Queens? Who said they were from Queens?
That would
Me,
be
the two of us
Sketch
are
and
originally
Oh,
from
okay,
Queens.
okay.
Oh,
I'm
Richard
not.
B.
I'm not from Queens, but I had spent a fair amount of time in Queens. I'm originally from Long Island.
Oh, you from Strong Island?
So
All right,
that's
that's what's up.
I didn't know
That's
I used to
that.
live out here too.
Okay.
See?
So Recon, that's what
You
the
see
connection
how
I was
this
feeling
shit
with you,
goes?
man. I'm like, what the?
We got some
I'm like, why is
foundational
this dude like
birthplace geographical
you was like giving me a
locations.
vibe, man, and I was
Nassau,
like,
Suffolk.
yeah,
it was
you know what I'm saying?
Nassau
Nassau,
County.
yeah.
Nassau
That's
County,
what's up.
okay, all right,
Dope.
Nassau County in the house.
I
hear
mean,
you.
that's pretty much an extension of Queens. I used to live out
Yeah,
on Long Island.
absolutely.
Yeah, we
man.
were just talking about
That's
that yesterday. And it was
funny.
just like, you know,
This is
the
a
exact same
small ass
thing.
world, man. So look,
Yeah.
when the
And
three of
that's a
us get
small
together,
place for all of us to be here over YouTube
all right. So when
after
the
all
three of
this
us
time.
get together, though, here's the deal: like we gonna go and see my sister because she up in the Hamptons, y'all. So we gonna go have a good time. All right. So y'all heard it. All right. Cool. All right. Please,
that
rest
was
of the introductions, though. Wow.
that
Go
was a
ahead,
very
Recon.
nice,
Tell
like,
us. Tell us about the
connection.
rest, Recon.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So as far as like hip hop and such, hip hop was one of the let me say music. I know if we talk about like hip hop culture, it's like music is this slice. Blah, blah, blah. For me, it's primarily the music stuff, and that was in my formative years, teens, younger than let's just say teens. I don't know if it's younger than teens and older, and I had all sorts of rap CDs and such that I still have over there, piles of. And it's a big deal to me. I became a poet and rapper when I was in my late teens to 20s through today. I'm in my mid 40s. And as far as rap as a mode of my own expression, I did that for the longest as a live performance, creative expression. And I did that for like 7 years until the pandemic. And then it was a sudden just drop and a few shows since the pandemic, but it's not on a regular basis like it was before that. But that was as a rapper, so that's where I have the most experience in live performance. I released a bunch of CDs, solo CDs, collaboration CDs. These days, it's primarily just the live looping that I do, that is improvised, that I do on my YouTube page, which is, as Viral said, the name of my YouTube page is Reconsider It's Music Sketchpad, because it's all just random, like
Straight up sketches.
it's
That's what's
very
up. That's dope.
it's totally unplanned, and there's very very little follow up to any of it, so it's just a bunch of sketches improvised as I do it. And okay, we have a 17,000
right?
miles of
I
sketches.
say.
Enjoy them.
I say.
That's my introduction. Thank you for having me.
And it's funny too
Love it,
because
man.
the way that the sketch ties in. Oh, we got our SOR
Oh
crew up
snap!
in here.
My brothers are here, man. My two younger brothers are in the house.
Okay, yeah, I said it was an open-ended link, so if you guys can make it in, that's the way to do it. So hopefully you guys' sound is working okay. I think we're good over here. But yeah, as far as like the sketch stuff, it's crazy because like I kind of produce the same way. Do the chunks of the sounds that you want and put them together, and then just move on and move on and move on, and then go back to them and arrange the ones that you like the most, that you favor, and like, hey, these are the ones that I'm going to roll with. These are the ones I'm going to sell. These are the ones I'm going to give. That you dictate those things, but just it's sketch. Just this world really connects us in these strange that are not so strange. They're standard for us, but to the world out there, it's strange in unusual ways, and it's really profound and dope. And it's good to have you, Recon. And so I guess before we get to everybody else here, just to make sure that we're good on the sound and everything, since our friends over here have jumped into the chat here, we got Symptoms of Reality in the house. What's good, fellas? You guys good with your settings here?
I don't know. Check 1 2. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Yo.
Definitely can.
Okay.
Yep. We could hear you both, and
So
we're good
just
here.
no video then, correct?
No, we're good on video.
We got you on video.
We got you on video.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There are no discrepancies on our end, sir. So I guess we could move on to you guys if you want to, while your sound is working and we got everything good. Not that it doesn't work normally. It's just the check is done. We're good. So we're ready to hear from you guys.
Yo, why we outside the box though? Like what?
Because there's an uneven amount of people now, so it's like, you guys want to be in here? I'll go to the bottom here. Here, how about this?
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. We
Here,
we just got some more added information.
No, she was explaining that question wasn't for you. It was for the woman in charge behind the camera.
Yeah. My bad. I just talking.
I'll put myself on the bottom here. How about that?
Yeah.
No,
Hey,
you good, bro. It's not tripping like
You
that.
guys
bro.
got the middle.
Yeah, my end it just
Yeah,
looked funky. I was just kind of lost.
Hey, we can change it at any time. It's all good.
No,
Don't
go to
worry about it.
bottom.
Moser, and trust my monkeys. Look. Let Viral be on the bottom for a change.
And if anything, I could also do a setting to where it's like,
Look.
bump my mouse. What happened
Look.
over
Moser, and Trust My Monkeys, and myself, we were family, right? We brothers, so we tired of riding the back of the bus
message
there.
Yeah, what he said.
And I'm tired of robbing the bus too.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
We can still play hip hop squares
Okay.
though.
Yo, we need 2 more for that Brady Bunch shit, the hip hop Brady Bunch going on here. Scrabble
There's
bees.
a
Wifey my
story
solid cats.
of a lonely
D&G.
lady. She raised all her kids by herself on her own.
She lived in South Central LA.
Damn. The ghetto bunch.
So, how about you guys? Symptoms of reality. Who are you? What's your connection with hip hop? I'll re-include you guys in the link. I was told that you guys weren't going to be able to make it, but you guys made it, and you're here, so I will retroactively include.
We're not here for long. We got to tend to outside business for our, financial means. But
It's all good.
we are really not. When we entered the music space, we didn't enter under hip hop at all. We entered under like electronic music, fusion jazz, fusion blues. But with that being said, everything we know and everything we love about music started with hip hop.
Word.
And that happened for us in the early or the late 80s.
Late
80s.
So we're 47. So late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
But I mean, and that was a wide range of hip hop.
Yeah.
And before we even get too far down that line, I'm just gonna say right now, just to get it out of the way, 1994, Ahmad Lewis back in the day. I remember where I was at. That's you know what I'm saying? And that was at a very young age. So yeah, hip hop started it all. We transitioned from the boom bap to the gangster rap. And then after the gangster rap series, we went to into the Wu-Tang and then into consciousness. And then for us, I guess hip hop kind of took a course of not of our choosing, and we slowly navigated away from it and just kept our old artists tight. Like you'll still catch me playing a Guru album. So
Right.
Yeah. You guys just got back from the record store, huh? Tell us about that real quick.
Yeah, man. We just picked up a Doom album.
Oh, which Doom album? I didn't even see that when you guys were.
I grabbed the Doom album. I can't tell you which one I grabbed because I'm
It
trying
was
to grab
the
all of
anniversary
them.
edition, wasn't it? That
Yeah,
Moon
I
Food?
think it was.
Yeah,
No,
Rhyme Sayers are on it.
he didn't have Food. I'm on a waiting list for Food.
Oh,
But
okay.
it was another Doom album. I wish I could go in the house and grab it, but
Dope.
I'm not going to do that. We just picked up Smokey Robinson Deluxe. We picked up Dead Prez. We picked up. What else did we get, man?
didn't you get a Black Star?
Got Black Star,
Oh,
the
nice.
second
Yeah, you
album,
got
because
that one.
Hell yeah.
Talib Kweli and Yasin Bey was on some wild shit on this. Like when they released that, it was on some platform that you had to pay, and the only interesting thing was the Talib Kweli podcast, and the rest was just like it was whack. I guess it was really geared for the Talib show, and then they tried to get Dave Chappelle involved, and I don't know how that went, but I think it fell off the map. And when that fell off the map, the second Black Star album, in my eyes, fell off the map.
Yeah, it kind of
Why
disappeared.
they didn't make that public is beyond me, but I get it. When you do something and you're going to get bent over for it and it's your art, you want to maximize your gains on it and not share that with, the overseers, for the lack of better terms.
That's why there's
then-
still some exclusive vinyl artists that are just like, I won't go anywhere else. I'll just stick to this because this is where
Stick to
people know
this.
find it.
Yeah. I ain't knocking them boys, but there was I believe there was a better way to get it out to the
Yeah.
public and still get your money.
Yeah,
And
and
then
it's a hard market to hit if you're just doing exclusive vinyl. You're eliminating yourself from a lot of different ears.
Right. And it's a few more albums we got. I can't remember them off the top of my head.
We got
'cause-
my Bon Iver album, self-titled. I don't know if you guys are into Bon Iver, but boy, it's wicked.
So Moser and Trust My Monkeys, yo, look, see, man, look, I even sketched this.
See, you doing some-
now you're
extra.
wilding, bro.
Extra, bro. Yeah.
Bro, you wilding.
Yo, we all
Come
been
on.
we all been on some family ish over here on YouTube
Tell
lately.
moms
so-
about
I
this.
know, I know,
you do
but
need
look,
to tell my
What was
look,
that? Yesterday you were on with these
look,
guys.
I'm trying to tell you, look,
Yeah,
Mom,
son. Wait,
see,
hold up, son. I wanna
Look, what you playing, Mom?
let me cop that though, bro. Let me,
I'm gonna send you the picture, man.
yeah,
I'll send it to your phone, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
Use
that
it
shit
for the
fat
comic
too,
book.
bro.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
We are just playing. Yo.
it's good to have you guys here, and I knew before getting in touch with you guys the music and hardware jams, but like when you guys were doing those streams and then started talking about hip hop, and it was like, oh shit, you guys are down like that, and then like start sharing your story a little bit more, and just like your hearts are always into it. That's why we did that hip hop piece for the birthday, because
Bruh.
Right. Yeah.
Because like
hold on,
yo,
viral. Before we go any further, though, let everybody else introduce themselves because
Yeah,
these guys,
yeah, yeah.
they
yeah,
need an
yeah, no,
introduction.
for
They-
sure, yeah,
Yeah.
we got plenty of time here.
Because
Yeah, we're
look,
good.
SRO, they famous, man. So people know who they
Bullshit.
are.
You
What
got it back.
talking
You
about,
got it
bro?
backwards
You
too.
got it
It's
backwards.
SOR.
SOR.
Hey,
SOR. You
check it out.
dyslexic
Check it out.
motherfucker.
Damn, goddamn, did I say SRO?
Damn,
happens.
bro. Stop the
You be
bullshit,
doing that
man.
shit
Stop the
every time we're on the
bullshit.
phone. It's like
Goddamn.
every other time. It's like
You know what? Yo, y'all know I got mental issues.
now
I'm
we're
sorry.
live in the
I know.
public,
I'm
sir.
trying to
Hey,
remind you,
hey,
motherfucker.
we'll get to that
Yeah.
side of the conversation in
got
a few
papers.
minutes here.
Stop playing. Hey, look, and I'm genetically your family. Y'all better
Damn,
stop playing.
Oh
yeah,
shit!
but-
Yeah, here we go.
That's the reason why we are doing it, bro.
All right, here we go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, Creax, how about you, sir?
Yes, sir. Well, my name is Enzo, but I go by Cratings on YouTube and other places. I'm fairly new into making music. It started like during COVID, and I decided, you know what, I like music, almost all kind of music. So I really want to produce something or become a beat maker, which right now I am a beat maker, and I really do enjoy bringing sounds together, And so I'm really glad that Viri invited me here today to come and learn, both learn and make new friends, new people.
Yeah.
So
Where you from? Trinidad, Jamaica? Like, what's that accent, bro?
now I'm from Sweden. I'm trying
Sweet.
to.
The fuck you
See, look,
Over
look,
here
see, look.
burying the lead for the homies.
So Enzo, you not the, see, look, you messed up my two little brothers. You just messed them up.
Fuck bro,
Because-
bro.
because-
Me
Yo,
up.
their wig is
'Cause look,
split
check it
right
out,
now.
guys.
They're
I
like,
told
what?
Enzo earlier. I said when I first saw his name on the screen, I said, "Shit!" I thought he was an Italian dude running around in Assassin's Creed. Okay, so like,
Yo,
I thought he
but-
was Colombian.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. He threw me for a loop. They got brothers like you in what do you say? Switzerland?
Sweden.
And,
my
yeah,
brother.
I mean, you want to talk about the diversity and impact of hip hop,
Yeah.
Yeah.
our friend here, and speaking of impact, for those who don't know out here, we were talking about this when we were getting set up for the stream. This guy right here, those who know that are familiar with the channel already know this. This is the one. He's the one who got me back into emceeing again. If I didn't involve myself in being on his
Yeah.
channel just randomly while he's producing on FL, a drill beat out of all things
Enzo, we about to do
got
some drill.
me. And I said, how much? How much you want for that? And he said, and gave it up, and we did the stems on it, and I sent him out to do a collab or whatever. It didn't come back, but we're finally getting into doing that. But I thought we were just gonna produce here on the channel, and I thought the emceeing element of hip hop was out of our range, and because of this guy up here, because of just randomly existing on YouTube and hip hop, motivated an old timer like myself to come
Man,
through
it
with
wasn't
these
random, bro.
and
That wasn't
that's the
random.
thing. He brought it out of me. I didn't cross genres over and start talking that drill shit. I rapped me over his beat, and it really, really came out. And I really love you for that. And that's one of those moments that I'm going to be telling my grandchildren about, the thing that got me into or away from thinking that I was just going to, end it and produce my way into the sunset, Sweden, and that's the benefit of YouTube here, and the reach of hip hop, and shows the extent, get an old white boy from the Southwest to get out these bars and come fuck shit up again. And that's exactly what I've been doing ever since. I've been doing MCing and shit and doing, just like, why am I not including that into my production? And it's all this man's fault here. So thank you, sir, for pulling my
You're
rusty
welcome, yo.
pen out the thing. And yeah, goddamn, man,
You
I
gotta
love
place
man.
blame where it's due.
Yeah, it's all your fault, man.
Yep.
Oh, it's
And
my
so
bad,
I want
yo.
one of those drill beats, man.
Yeah, I got you. Man. If you guys like, cause I like using cinematics, scoring like that. For some reason, I'm really stuck with violin, cello. So you're gonna hear like
Love it.
a lot of cellos. So I'm like a cello guy. I don't even know how
Love
to play cello, but yeah.
Yeah.
I used to play a little bit in school, like in junior high school.
There
a
you
little
go.
bit,
I
little bit.
started out as a violinist, man. So me and T-Sketch, man,
See?
we'll start with the stringed instruments right now.
Yeah, I thought I was the only analog dude up in here playing the bass, bro, but that's all good.
Yeah, we all family, man.
Yeah, I started with was it
SOR.
violin, violin, then try with the drums, and then saxophone. And I was like, nah, it ain't what's happening. I did the saxophone because of In Too Deep. If it weren't for Back to the Hotel, I probably wouldn't even tried with the saxophone. I just
Back
wanted to
to
get
the
my
Ho-
Bill Clinton on during that time.
Facts.
So here we go. You got anything else you want to add to that?
Not
Over here,
really.
Chris?
I'm just practicing how to play guitar.
Hell
I
yeah.
just gotta get
Hell
consistent
yeah.
with it, acoustic, But I don't know how to play any instruments, so
Word.
Only way to figure it out is to play it. That's how I
Yep.
that's
started.
true.
Just pick it up and go and see if it
Stay with it.
vibes
Stay
with
with
you
it.
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's see. Why is it doing that every time I click that? Here we go. Let me put him in the middle. And we have our final guest over here for the evening, Apollo HANZO,
Apollo Hans.
staring into the moonlight.
Man,
Yeah.
Hanzo's joint is so dope. I'm sorry, Hanzo. I got to say it again.
Oh, yeah.
This is dope.
I
My
appreciate it, man. I
just-
appreciate you.
Who are
so I'm
you and
Apollo
what's
Han-
your connection to hip hop?
I'm Apollo Hanzo, and I was born in Los Angeles, and that's my connection to hip hop.
Enough
That's all
said.
it need to be.
Moving
That's
on.
all it-
Like we are,
that's all it need to be.
yeah, really. Like we all know what that is.
Yep.
Like for real. Like you could
Born
just
in
say
LA,
your
born in-
region or whatever, and there
Wait,
you go.
Apollo, West LA, or because we was born in West LA, White Memorial. Where were?
Yeah, close to it.
There you go.
One of the things that has surprised me about general perceptions of reality is that Apollo's here, information and knowledge about hip hop and culture really took me by surprise. And it's not that I had any preconceived notions or anything like that. It's just he was talking to me about this like we talk about this, just hip hop shit. And I'm like, oh shit, because usually when it comes to hip hop, there's a certain demographic that can't talk about it like we talk about it, that don't know the cast of characters or the timeline, the sequence of events, the meaning and all that other stuff. And to just randomly or not so randomly, stumble upon a friendship and just be like, oh yeah, by the way, we could have that hip hop conversation too, was really something that like, goddamn universe.
Yeah. Well, hip hop nowadays, you can't even You can't even judge a book by the cover. You can't go out in the street nowadays and just be like,
He's hip hop. He's not. Yeah.
Hip hop is a black thing. Hip hop is a brother's thing. It's what we grew up with. That is so not the case.
Yeah.
And case in point was the record store today my brother went to, and this dude in Indiana, in middle of nowhere, he is well versed, well knowledged. You know, and that's the beauty of hip hop. We've conquered all these fictitious borders and these guidelines that hip hop music has transcended into a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like everybody
Biggest form
now
of music
is
in the
hip-hop.
entire world.
The biggest form. And that's a blessing because music can bring everybody together now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we surpassed country around like 90, 98. We just blew right past them. They were the biggest of the biggest of the Mecca of the Mecca.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
for
true,
music.
man. That's
And
very
now-
true. That's a
And now
real
country
stat.
is converted into hip hop now.
Yeah, yeah. Not only
Yeah.
with Beyonce's latest effort, but even before that, you know, there's there's just
Listen, I'm in the middle of the country. I'm in Nebraska, and I be hearing all kinds of country trap. I'm like, wait, what? They be driving by.
Yeah.
I be like, I never
Yo,
heard that shit.
when we were in South Dakota
Jesus.
last summer, we were in South Dakota, and we were hearing "Not Like Us" in the parking lot of Walmart. You know, and
Yeah.
it's crazy because there's like. There's white people and there's natives pretty much, you know. I mean, there's
Yep.
other diversities, but it's pretty much those two cultures that exist in South Dakota. The rest of it's tourism and all that other stuff. But to just, I mean, it was during the tail end of Sturgis and all that other stuff, but to just hear a song like that from the West Coast and these kids and not more than once too. Like it was a couple times, you know, and I'm just like, and I was even telling my mom, I was like, see, that is the impact of hip hop right there. That this song, this battle track right here is all the way over here from the West Coast. And these guys that you would never think in a million years are getting down to they not like us. They not like us. Not fully
transcends, that's
understanding the
why.
meaning. Transcends. Yeah, there
Like
you
it
go.
transcends regions, you know, like genres,
Dialects,
cultures.
countries,
Everything.
cultures,
It don't even matter.
everything.
And but that's the thing too, if you think about it, right? Like hip hop. Now, okay, if we really talking, you know.
Wait.
Hey,
Hang on. We still got T-Sketch and Recon. We have
Yeah,
to bring
Oh,
they
we
over
already
here.
did that,
man.
Yeah, we already did that. You guys are late.
You're late to
Oh,
the
all
party,
right.
guys.
So we way late. We way late.
My
My bad.
late
Go
to the
ahead.
show.
Go ahead.
Look,
My bad. Go
Look
ahead.
at my twins. Look at my twins. What they
Can't
did.
trump
They
my
just-
rights. Go
You guys
ahead.
are doing the
jump
twin
up
thing
on me.
again.
Why they all- wait, I was like Moser, trust my monkeys, get up off me. like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but
Yeah.
no, I mean, it's like, you know, rap music, you know, beginning of rap music, hip hop, and hip hop with a capital H, two capital H's, right? Hip hop culture, you know, definitely, you know, if you think about it now, the reason why it's so vast and so broad now and so widely accepted is that one, certain cultures always bring culture to countries, right? That's something that, you know, if you think about African American culture, especially here in this country, that's brought a lot of culture to a lot of places, like everywhere, right? However, when we strictly talk about the music, look at all of the subgenres of hip hop there are. See, there's like, so right, rap music is not just rap music how it was in New York, right? And hip hop culture itself is starting to splinter into a lot of different formations that make up the culture now. It's not just, you know, now if you were talking about being a purist, obviously the main four elements, and then if you expand it out to the KRS-One theoretical, there are 9, right? But then, you know, the thing is that outside of that, there are so many subgenres that have emerged that have literally just enriched music as a whole. Like, and we continue to do that, right?
Yeah.
It's like rap music is evolving even today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
we got a lot going on with that.
Speaking to your point too, as far as like the attention and everything, what it does, all these other subgenres, is that they get people to check for hip hop that weren't necessarily checking for hip hop before. I've seen this happen up close with West Coast when opening up for Tech Nine during a point to where he's doing a Paul Wall tour, or when he's got E40 with him. You know, my wife and I, our first date, I brought her to the Tech 9 E40 show, you know, because I opened up over there. So I kind of cheated the game as far as our relationship goes. But like that was it, you know, and it was dope to see, you know, people that were really technicians into Tech 9 getting hyphy, you know, and they knew the dance, you know, they knew, you know, everything about that already, and it was hip hop that kind of, you know, converge those two subgenres into this, you know, dope ass show and party and all that. Just really, really crazy how things web out and connect to one another like that. And I've seen it so many times up close, and it is really dope. Let me say what's up to some people here in the chat, as I've been saying, seeing it go by. Doommonger, Niles Pesce, Destructo, undefeated. Destructo's a hip hop man through and through. I didn't introduce myself, and it's, you know, you guys are on this channel, so you guys pretty much know as far as things go, you know, my history with things. I'm actually in the process of sharing it. You know, those who are new to the channel likely are new because of this going through my mom's records video, and what we're getting into here is sampling some of those records and incorporating them into this hip-hop album that we're working on. And you know, a part of pulling these records and doing this is sharing a bit of hip-hop history. So, you know, we're kind of doing it for so many other reasons, and you guys are already aware of that. So as far as I go here, you know, from the Southwest, born and raised Phoenix, Arizona. Now I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and yeah, grew up with hip hop. You know, when I was younger, you know, I used to carry, or you know, kids had baseball cards. You know, I had Yo MTV Raps cards over here. You know, I was collecting these. See which MCs are winning the battle over here, you know what I mean? Like, and I even rapped about it later on in one of my albums, you know, see which one would win in the battle, and you know, just all and it's crazy because like comes full circle, you know, Tone Loc was at my shop a week before it opened, you know, and just this great profound moment in hip hop with Shock G and the guys from Digital Underground, and we just had this profound jam session that will never get out there, really. I mean, there's video of it. We had a professional camera crew and everything like that, but it was such a profound moment, and how a guy like me during the time to where I was listening to Shock G and Humpty Dance. We were just, Apollo and I were just talking about Digital Underground because he had reminded me that they were in that damn that Chevy Chase movie or whatever back in the day, and I'm not as familiar with that movie because I had only seen it a couple of times or whatever.
Nothing but trouble.
Nothing but trouble.
Yeah, and I remembered that thing in there, and he had reminded me that Pac was, you know, around during that time because we were talking about this record right here, this that I just did a video of that I took down because there's more information that we found about this, and what turned out to be a Biggie verse that we thought was from a different time was actually extracted from a different record. And you know, there's a whole lot of other information to add to that, and it's crazy how I didn't notice. But shout out to the homie Air Spider, who's been a supporter of this channel since the beginning of it, who pointed that out and was actually working at a mixtape place, and happened to catch the vocal tag in the front, and was like, yeah, that vocal tag dates it at 2002, long after Biggie passed away. So I had to pull it down just out of my consciousness. I feel some kind of way about DJ Vlad and them putting out, you know, people after they pass away in hip hop. But that's a totally different story that I'll get into in the video. But as far as things go, that's pretty much my connection here. Born and raised in the Southwest. And here we go. We're hip hopping on this channel, whether you like it or not, and just kind of incorporating all these worlds, because people don't realize that what brought us to the gangster rap movement was not only our environment of where we were at, is because we grew up listening to these prog records, and even though those weren't sampled, in hip hop the way that they were, all the same machines were used, all those synthesizers, the Rick Wakeman getting down and all that. Even though they weren't sampled by hip hop, that sound, when Dr. Dre and G-Funk and all that stuff became a thing, it was that plus the neighborhood thing. So that was a bonus. I had a personal attachment to, what was going on and shit. So it was such a deep-rooted connection that brought me to that point. And it all came from prog records, from my parents. So connecting these worlds is kind of the process that we're at right now in this channel. So, and going down the list, actually, this kind of works out because we had on our list, subgenres was one of them. But another thing that's another them is another one here is is how you guys feel on the current status of hip hop and where you feel hip hop currently sits in this conversation in the world over here. So what do you guys think? We all are good communicators. We're all here and kind of know the name of the game. So, when it comes down to it, it's like, just go. Whoever wants to start.
That's so vague. That's going to be like the eye of the beholder. It
is. It totally is. It's all a matter of perspective.
It's just highly subjective.
Highly. I could sit here and tell you hip hop is dead, but I know damn well if you go looking in the right places, it's alive and well.
Yeah, like this channel. So don't be bringing that shit around here. No, just kidding. No,
I actually call hip hop something else. Like to me, conscious philosophy, conscious rap. To me, that's hip hop. Anything outside of that, I just consider it rap.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. And the thing is that I used to even more so like kind of shit on the hip hop is dead conversation because I've been kind of on the antithesis end of that conversation, but I understand where it comes from. So I don't really judge people like that if they were to say that, like, hey, hip hop is dead, even though, it's different over here on this side, but it's like you said, it's highly subjective, and hip hop is not the same for everybody.
I'll tell you what. It's going to be the same as we progress with everything. I remember when Kool and the Gang and all that, Zapp and Roger, and then when hip hop was really starting to come around, because these were the branches that it was stemming from. They all said back then, "Oh, all y'all kids got is this MC Hammer, MC Light, MC this, MC Yellow, MC Ren, all these MCs." And now
you should have heard my grandpa.
I can actually look at it now and see what they're talking about, because now I look at it at all this what do they call it, trap, and I see all this the baby and
little
this
and little that, and
yeah. I can see now how it's transcending into a taste, right? To me, it'll always be the classics. It'll always be the oldies, and I get it now, and I get why people feel that way. It's because when you had something at its birthright, when it was like at the dawn, it was at its purest form. To me, I'm just speaking to me, and this is why everybody's kind of like where these little things are popping up, these little sprouts like Coast Contra. Everybody's trying to go back to this era and rekindle the boom.
Not everybody,
but they rekindle the
boom. But it's in, boom bap is in.
Yeah. Rekindle
hip-hop
the KRS one day. Because when you think hip hop, outside of where we're at now, it's always the birthplace. It's always where did hip hop come from?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people that have been into it, like our generation of baby boomers or whatever, or hip hop boomers, I think it's the new stigma. Old cards don't die fast. It's not until that older population dies off where hip hop takes that new
and then you'll have nostalgic forms of it.
Yeah, right. And I think we're seeing that with people like Redman and the old timers are really, I call them old timers loosely because we're all mostly in that generation, you know what I mean? But it's crazy as far as the general, public is concerned or whatever. We are, middle-aged and reaching that point to where we are getting the keys, the people who've created this music are starting to get some of the keys handed to them to drive this, and putting out some really dope music and reminding everybody, yo, like you get better with age, and that's something that is lost in hip hop, you know, because you're taught by the industry, and a lot of it has to do with industry control and everything like that, trying to tell you that you're, you know, too old to do it because they know that you know how to read a contract that these young guys don't know how to read. So like they want to make
Right.
sure they could, you know, milk that cow and take advantage all the way to the very end and play off the ignorance and develop what type of artist they want to go out there. But all that stuff is not only the antithesis of music and development, but it's also the antithesis of hip hop, especially because it has always been street music. So even when you have street music reach that level, they're like, hey, how do we get some of this going on? And they're trying to find out, how do we capitalize off this newfound interest in hip hop? And they're looking around. Well, you know, and it's happening without them. It's happening without them. It's happening organically, and that's what I like about, you know, all this stuff, and you know, with the space and technology. Anybody else want to chime in here? What are you guys' thoughts on the current status of hip hop here? You know, how
Yeah.
about you, Sketch?
I was ready to say something extremely witty, like,
Okay.
I don't know, because I'm not really tuned into the modern state of hip hop. I was ready to say something like that, but instead of saying it, I'm just making a reference to the fact that I thought about saying it, and thereby am implicitly also saying it. I'm not really in tune with, you know, the modern state of hip hop, but I thought about like how I relate to that question. Like for me, what is in my life the modern way I relate with hip hop? And I thought about how, because of how I spent so many years just performing in a local and regional scope, that my sense of like hip hop and just, you know, rappers and producers and, you know, all putting on shows and all this, it has become like more localized. So my sense is like, I'm curious to hear what anyone on this Zoom also thinks about this. But what is your idea of the sense of like moving from, I don't know, hip hop in its most glorious heyday? Look at this huge global name of an artist, which, you know, has the tendency to become commercialized and corporatized and more closely resembling a puppet than an individual artist with a message. So what is your thoughts on the idea of like that forcing any kind of realness of hip hop to be more of, I guess, Viral, you were kind of saying like a organic sort of thing, from the bottom up kind of thing, including knowing artists close to you, whether that's local artists who you see at a local show, some dork performing in a, you know, dive bar, or you know, some YouTube artists. What do you, anyone have thoughts on any of that?
Well, as far as
Yeah,
go ahead. Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
I was just waiting for you. Go ahead.
yeah. I got a couple of thoughts on some of this. Um, so the first one, was rap dead or is hip hop dead?
No, it's the current status of hip hop, and then you know, to Recon's point, you know, kind of
Yeah,
existing on a more localized perspective of
yeah.
the
I heard
culture, yeah,
Recons. I just
so.
wanted to make sure I heard the first one correctly.
No, we're just kind of
But,
checking in on the current status of hip hop, really.
I think that hip hop, like my two brothers said, that, you know, hip hop's alive and well, right, in the world. I think it is.
For sure.
I think that there are a lot of people whose consciousness is dead, though. I think that we gave away a lot
For sure.
from Recon, from the point of view of when hip hop was conscious, right? When there were groups like, you know, like my man Lakim Shabazz, like, you know, Public Enemy, groups like that that were working toward being a voice in hip hop, like a modern civil rights movement, to continue down that line of, you know, equality, equity, all these kind of different kind of things, to crush racism, actually, believe it or not. And the way you crush that is by addressing it and talking about it, right? Us having a dialogue and a conversation about it. But a lot of the record companies were able to controlled the narrative, the direction, the voicing to allow for that commercialism to happen.
Yeah.
They didn't want a lot of that to be, they didn't want people to be conscious. Like that doesn't sell for them. That takes away control too from a lot of different elements of business. That takes, and and I'm talking about, because again, now we're getting into, we can talk about racism because, granted, there is racism in the world, right? Like nobody's going to deny that. But there's also a thing called classism. There's a thing called placism.
Yeah.
Like you better know your place kind of thing, right? So there's this thing where money, capitalism is the most important aspect of this thing, right? So we have to understand that when you have people who are in power who can control the directive, the narrative, the story, right? And can say, hey, we're going in this direction. Do you want to be famous? Do you want to make money? Do you want to this? You're going to do this. This is what you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And a lot of us older, and I feel like I'm a little bit to blame too, because a lot of us older, musicians, producers, artists, we didn't really say anything while that was happening. We didn't really help to control it and be like, hey, talking to the young brothers and young sisters out there to be like, hey, wait a minute, that's not cool. Because how did we get from, we're talking about culture and heritage and things of that nature to all of a sudden, we talking about, big booties, gold chains and, everything that's in your teeth and, what you drinking and, popping bottles at the club, I mean, it's like, damn, I didn't even know when that happened. I was just like, all of a sudden, I found myself tuning out and I didn't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah, and then that's kind of where the independent underground stepped in, because the industry converged to like crunk stuff and like real club music, and there were so many people that were tired of it, and they were just like, independently, who's got bars? And then all of a sudden, Tech Nine, Insane Clown Posse, and all them have this resurgence after the '90s, and it's crazy.
Thank you,
Viral
Viral Beats.
Business wise.
Look at your screen.
He over there working. Yeah,
that's because I love you, brothers, man. That's why. Don't worry, everybody else. I'm looking at y'all real close. Apollo, yours gonna be hard.
Just put everybody in my studio. Just put the studio behind.
That's funny. It's funny though, because what you were saying about the responsibility of it, because I have this line that says, if hip hop is dead, it's because you helped kill it.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm at with it. If you have that feeling and that perspective, something in you as far as your relationship to hip hop has died, and what exactly has killed that? You know what I mean? And but when it comes to us and MCs and in the game, and and those of us who've been suppressed over these years as far as our content, music, and all this other stuff for various reasons, various isms and all that other stuff, a lot of the reasons are because the people in charge didn't give us a fair shake, didn't give us a chance, and led us to believe that if we're not in their club, we can't be in the club of making music. And then realizing in the early 2000s, around 2005, 2006, that wait a minute, this independent thing could put you on the Forbes list. Like you could really, go that. I don't think that was when Tech showed up on the Forbes list, but it was shortly after that generation. But during that time, there was this huge resurgence in the independent underground, and these guys were making multi-million dollars in the industry just doing the music thing and just totally independently of all that. And then finally, after all these years, it's crazy that a group like Insane Clown Posse is starting to get their hip-hop flowers, even on Drink Champs, because how the subgenre related and made this resurgence happen.
But that goes back to what Son was saying. Hip hop is not so for most people, I'm going to say for most people, it's not about that they lost faith in hip hop. It's that when it went mainstream and commercial, and then it changed and flipped the script, because
it was supposed to be it was supposed to be about black embitterment in the very beginning,
right? And then when like Killer Priest said it the best, is hip hop is dead and mumble rap wrote the eulogy. It's just like the way that it's true. The way that it's transferred over. It's just that it now the mainstream is that it's trap rap. What you were saying, ass, titties, rims, how to disrespect women, this and You know, and that's
Yeah, it's
that
crazy.
is not hip hop. That is
Right.
not, you can't label something that is totally not what it is. I can't call Coors Light Don Perignon. You know, it don't
Yeah,
make
the
it don't
champagne
make
of
no
beers
sense.
like
Yeah.
Miller High
Facts.
Life, you know? You're like, what are you
Right.
talking
The-
about? Champagne
But
of beers.
the biggest factor is, and it's not a racist factor, it's the truth. After the Black Panthers were pretty much abolished or disassociated, who remembers the song "Don't Push Me Close to the
Absolutely.
Edge"?
It's an
I'm
anthem.
trying. You know what I'm saying?
Not to lose my head.
That was hip hop then. They were like brothers on a show floor trying to show other brothers, you cannot walk this route on the streets. You cannot be like me. I'm living it. It's a dead fucking end.
Yeah.
We have to be better than this. It was supposed to be about black embetterment.
Absolutely.
That's what it originally started off as.
Yep.
Community.
And the-
It's about
Yeah.
community,
Dancing, art.
and not to go down the route. And I'm just going to stick it into this category because this is facts on how this shit was really going. Then the 5%ers from the 5% Nation started to enter hip hop. Hence KRS-One with the 5% Nation. They knew what it was for. They knew what the cost of selling one soul was going to be about. But then you had the Jewish organizations who were in control of what? The radio waves. Now, I'm not saying that they were bad individuals, but a lot of them wasn't doing good.
But if you look at the history of music
And-
from the very beginning, it led up to that point because it was already problematic from
Exactly.
systemically.
Exactly. So when the powers that be, especially on the West Coast, off of La Brea and all these streets that if you're not from the West Coast, you don't know. But when the radios became invested into poverty and the lifestyles that came from poverty, they saw another Huey Newton, but it was bigger, it was larger, and this music was starting to be infectious.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was starting to make it to suburbia.
And the only thing that they could do at this point, before any more messages were being presented into those ears of trying to make them understand how to love family, don't go down certain avenues, stay away from drugs. As soon as they started, what happens with any society on the brink of being conscious, they shut that shit down.
Oh, definitely.
And then that's when, I'm the one son was saying, you started to go deaf to what was being presented to you because somewhere in the middle, they took all that messaging, all those messages, and turned it into materialistic forms.
And you gotta keep in mind, everybody, and everybody in here is every person on this call right now. I think that it is safe for me to say that all of you have really good ears because you're all musicians, music makers, producers.
Shit, T Sketch got
Artists, right?
fucking crazy
Yeah,
beats.
she
I know
got
it.
it. Yeah,
Her
she got it.
ears
Yeah,
are
they just found out
stupid.
about her last night. They're like,
Oh, yeah,
shit,
my sister. That's
Got
my
some
sister.
retarded
man.
ass ears.
Told y'all.
She from the same neighborhood, y'all. Just so y'all know, me and
Yeah.
T-Sketch, we cut from the same cloth. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
I was just
And then
thinking that.
Recon,
Funny
too.
enough, I was
Yeah.
just thinking that because
Yeah.
I was looking at everybody in here going, "Yeah, I already know Recon.
Right.
I already know he KRS-One because I can
Right.
hear it by the way he fucking spits his bars.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and in order to be in this cipher,
The only
you have
person-
to be of an
yeah.
intelligent mind.
The only person I don't know is this Sweden motherfucker right
yeah,
here.
throwing us for it.
Fuck this motherfucker right here.
I'm like only here to learn. Mainly the song maybe say much. Listening to y'all and
Yeah,
well,
pick
Enzo,
The youngest guy in the group, too.
when I come out there, you better introduce me to a Swiss Miss. I'm just kidding.
yeah.
I'm totally
A
kidding.
Swisher Swiss.
That brother got all the milk of magnesia out there.
But but what I was saying is shit, I'll forget what I was saying, y'all. Look, everyone's got a great ear. So that's what I'm saying. Like So since we're talking about great ears, here's the deal. We know that this goes deeper than hip hop music. Now we're gonna go there.
Sure.
We're gonna go down a rabbit hole
Yeah,
for a
let's
quick
go.
second, and I'm gonna come back.
Yeah.
So great ears means that we hear frequencies, right, guys? Frequencies, and we
Facts.
know. So T Sketch and I, we talk about this all the time. Is that frequency can change your whole
Demeanor.
state of mind.
Mhm.
Brothers, y'all know symptoms of reality. Y'all do your music in a certain frequency, and you know it's all about higher frequencies and elevation of the self and of the mind, right? So if we're operating in frequencies, then we should talk about how do frequencies impact us, right? So we know musically and media wise, part of this, the music game has always been part of their psychological warfare profile against the American people, against
Right.
people, societies all over the world, right?
Yeah.
So look,
Yes.
we've got, and Recon, here we go. Here comes to New York, y'all. Here we go. Here come LA, y'all. And look, in Sweden, y'all probably got treated a little more nicer than we did. Okay,
Hell
y'all,
yeah,
y'all
they
got
did.
nicer laws. Cyrus, the virus knows what I'm talking about. Look here. Look, television programming, right? Radio
Word.
programming,
Word is
social
bond.
media programming. See, the whole thing, it's a program. It's it's a pre-planned set of frequencies designed to lower our inhibitions, designed to lower our defenses against things. It's designed to influence how we're thinking, to
Put our
influence-
bodies, put
yeah,
our bodies in dis-ease,
absolutely, right?
disease.
100%.
So it's a form of programmed self-destruction, and it'll make it look like they didn't have anything to do with it. The
Do with
powers
it,
that be,
yep.
right? We didn't have. Said y'all the one listening to it.
And why y'all think it's tuned to 440 hertz? Because it
Right.
hits your root chakra.
Bam, bam, bam.
Exactly.
And
Here
that's
we
that's
go.
your security, that's your stability. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It's a sense of belonging. So like everybody's like, oh, it's not that serious. Yeah, it is. That's
Yeah,
why
it's
I
that
tune all
serious.
my music is tuned to 432 hertz. That's the universal
Yeah.
frequency.
That's
I don't play that.
nature. That's
Yeah,
nature.
I don't
Absolutely.
exactly. I don't play that.
Absolutely.
So like, and that I think that's why I've had trouble as far as like people being attracted to my beats, because it's the frequency of my beats is going to repel any low vibrations. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Because
right,
that's how
yeah.
I make my music. Like
Yep.
I'm more of a, I know that's my power. Music is magic. You know what I'm saying? So like,
I jumped
Ooh,
head
the
first
the
into that beat, and that was a
frequencies,
positive song too.
Did y'all hear that though? See, look, you got to understand something. It is true though. Music, everyone in here, we're making magic. Why do you think when we think about music, we say it's mood music, right? It's mood. It puts you in certain states of mind, certain states of being.
Life changing.
And by saying it's magic, that's absolutely true, because when we get together and we put together, like, look, melodies, counter melodies, bass lines, we got our percussion, right? Drums. We put all that stuff together. And the thing about it is that's alchemy. That's some
Absolutely.
serious magic going on there. And, and we add our voices, right? Which is another instrument, right? It's alchemy. Some people don't like the idea of the word magic because they automatically start thinking, oh, it's evil, it's blasphemous, it's this, it's that. No, there
Powered
is
by the
also
spirit. If it's powered
all
by the
about
spirit,
intention.
you can't say it's
Yeah.
evil.
It's
If it's
all
powered
about-
by the spirit,
Yeah.
you
it's
know?
all
Right.
all about intention.
So yeah,
at the end of the day.
Sure.
absolutely, right? So the intention of it, right? So here's the thing: it's like part of this whole kind of this direction that this thing is going in. It's always kind of been here underneath, right? Under the surface of things, they've always been working, and the thing to change the narrative, to make us think and feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Right.
And see, the thing is, they don't like any of us on the call. By the way, we're
Hell
not
no.
well liked. I'm
We're
gonna tell you that right now.
disruptors.
Because the
All
problem
That
is
third
that
eye, that third eye is
Yeah.
open, bruh.
third
Yeah,
eyes
the free-
open.
the free
our,
thinkers,
our
man. Free
ears
thinkers.
are sensitive to what we're hearing, what we're creating, what we're experiencing, and we're educating other people to wake up from these things, because these things can destroy communities, destroys our mental health, can destroy our physical health, all these kind of things. And we know how to feed our spirits properly to get ourselves, in alignment.
And we're also
Right.
able to recognize what the current status is of things and the fact that like
And
people are
Recon, I see you
checking for this
chomping at the bit, man.
information.
Come on, jump in here,
Yeah,
man.
let's
Because
go.
Apollo.
I feel
Yeah.
you, brother. I feel you. And Apollo's like, yeah, I'm about to get in there, y'all. So let's go. Come on.
I have
And-
another thought where I'm curious what everyone here on the Zoom thinks about this, but you know, all this conversation about narrative and intentionality and alchemy, I believe, and magic. This is exciting to me to hear you speaking like this, because this is like my definition of what a proper artist is somebody who intentionally uses their craft as a form of channeling intention in order to implement alchemy in their what they can reach with their reach. So it's good to hear you speaking this way. My question is this: what, like, if you reflect on your own insights from, let's say, that however many decades until now, you know, past however many decades,
why you gotta talk about me like that, Recon?
So speaking specifically to Sun and only Sun,
Yeah.
but if you reflect on whatever, do you perceive any sort of pattern or direction or the lack thereof with respect to let's say the consumers of hip hop culture, and let's say just specifically music for now, for the target audience, the people who want the hip hop to consume it? Is there any change compared to, let's say, like the 90s? I think back to the 90s, and it was cool to be independent and have thoughts and you know, not, you know, kill your television kind of shit.
You had to be
you know?
original. Like it had to be a thing. Like you had to differentiate yourself between other artists, or else you're biting. You're out of hip hop.
And you
There
couldn't
go.
be a sucker MC either.
Man,
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
No shark biting.
man.
No,
Nope.
you
No
couldn't be a
shark
sucker- it was
biting.
Get the
rude
gas
to this
face.
shit.
You don't let a fuse now, Recon, because
Now we're all gonna throw in these fucking hip hop terminologies and shit.
That fucking,
That's the
that,
artist,
that,
though.
That fucking Mass Appeal was
I don't want to
like
hear it. Don't even
Gangstar, like
I'm
Guru
telling
on
you.
Mass Appeal. He said it all right there. Suckers be playing themselves to have Mass Appeal,
They
bruh.
Exactly.
kill themselves for it.
So
Apollo-
Enzo,
That-
you the young brother up in here, man, and
Yeah,
young
yeah.
blood. Let me tell you something, man. Like
No,
back in
Apollo's-
okay, so a lot of music today, you know, there a lot of artists, and I'm not. And by the way, so for
Wait.
all the-
Time out. Answer Recon's question.
Yeah. But I just wanted, but it is part of it. Trust me.
Okay.
We're gonna go
All
right
right.
back to Recon. Enzo, like
trust
I'm
my
just gonna
monkey.
tell
I'm
you
gonna throw a
something
circle
that
here. We're gonna come full
being the
circle.
young dude is that yeah, we're going full circle. Yeah. Being the young dude, I just want you to know that Viral said something very important that you should keep in mind. A lot of artists today, and it's no disrespect to any young artists that are creating music and performing, a lot of the guys, they want to sound the same. They're kind of like almost regurgitating each
Xerox.
other,
Yeah.
right? Like they
Xerox.
sound all
Copying
very
success.
similar.
They're trying to imitate success.
Right. So
which doesn't
whatever
work.
whatever works, I'm gonna jump on that, jump on that. And I understand that. And hey, look, I respect the hustle. But what I'm saying is that back in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s, when we were making music, rap music, creating hip hop, if you sounded like someone else,
Bye.
Sucker
You
MC.
were
even,
getting-
even a little bit.
you were getting
Even a
gun-
little
you,
bit.
you were done. You were done. You were a sucker MC at that point. And if you got labeled sucker MC and you weren't solid, forget it. Like you were
You get a wedgie and they kick you off the block, son.
yeah, no kind of right. You know what I'm saying? T-Sketch, it was like you didn't get any respect. And now the respect is who gets the bag the fastest now.
And
That's
who
the
has
only
the
respect.
most
Who
numbers?
gets the
It's
bag.
you know, it's been a popularity
Which is
contest
fine,
for
but we
such
gotta
a long
separate
time.
that. That's the problem.
Right.
They're like,
So-
oh,
so-
but I get the bag, but I get the bag. Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
That's cool.
That's
Get
what
your
Drake
bag.
was saying. Okay, yeah, here we go.
Okay,
T-Sketch, let's
let's
go.
not
Let's
talk
Recon, we
about
go.
gotta get
hip-hop.
back to
go.
Recon.
We're not
We gotta
gonna go
get back
there.
to Recon.
So
So
can I
Recon,
say
Go,
something?
she's going there.
And
No,
Apollo,
no,
jump
she's
in here
going
too,
there for
please.
sure.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So if I may, like back in your old days, no, because I'm pretty young, I'm just gonna say that. But before people, there were a lot of like analog stuff going on. Meanwhile, today is a lot of digital. So the beat making, producing is very wide today compared to yesterday.
Yeah.
Because back in the days, a lot of people wasn't creative. People were creative actually than today. So if you couldn't get a hardware or get money to buy some stuff, you won't be able to DJ or do whatever. But today you can crack anything to do on the
Yeah.
internet.
Yeah,
And
this kind of computing and these materials, they weren't available to us at
exactly.
all.
So
So
Right,
music.
so a lot of people go for the mainstream because that's what we're selling today in the club. And like from my perspective, okay, personally, I do listen to old school hip hop a lot, right? I don't like the
Good
mumble
on
jumble
you.
stuff. Like
on
it's not like, you know, but from what I've seen is that a lot of youngins today they don't listen to the actual music, what they say, just the beat, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, this is really you know, it's really nice, you know. So that's what, like, you know, that's the difference between today hip hop and, like, you know, 30 years ago hip
yeah,
hop, where music was really good, but today it's not about, no, a lot of people don't really care about that these days,
yeah.
which is really sad, because hip hop is, like, you know, it brought up a lot of stuff, like, and it helped a lot of people, you know,
Bars and delivery
people.
go a long way in hip
But
hop.
you
Exactly,
gotta
like, you know, go on.
hip hop. Okay.
And
Higher
Recon,
intelligent.
can you recap
higher.
us your question too? By the way, when we continue, when everybody gets done. I'm sorry I derailed you, man. I apologize, brother.
Yeah, for real. Because I definitely want to chime in on that. But I'm just gonna say higher intelligent power, healing our people. That's what hip hop stands for. And they've fallen away from the healing. It's all about the business. You know what I'm saying? They don't care
Yeah.
about that. And that's all only
Even
for
here on
people.
YouTube.
Yeah, that's only for people who are really seeking to heal. You know what I'm saying? To seek more than what's in the box. You know what I'm saying? The ones who question things, and like from the 90s, they try to destroy hip hop. They couldn't, so they infiltrated it and made money from it. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember when I was a kid, I remember them burning a whole pile of hip hop CDs, talk about, oh, this is horrible
Tipper
music.
Gore
We
and
gotta,
all them, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So like, and then all of a sudden now it's taken over the world, but that's because they figured out how to infiltrate it, make money from it, but also feed the prison system at the same time.
Absolutely, yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm like Easy E when it came down to Tipper Gore and all them burning everything. I was like, shit, you bought it. You can do what you want with it.
You can do what you want with it.
I'm down with
burn them shits,
Too
you know,
Short.
like,
Like,
whatever
ask
you want to
your
make a
wife,
bonfire, right?
Nancy Reagan.
But yeah, but they did put a negative spin on, you know, a lot of great artistry that was, you know, being created. But Recon, can you please recap your question? I am so sorry, brother. Like I went down that path. So
Yeah. So I like the fact that it did seem to light a fuse. I value that very greatly, and we should always, in my opinion, be good with where that wound up going. Anyway, my question is less about the artists, because certainly among artists, among the creatives, we have certainly strong opinions about, like, of course you should remain really original.
Purists.
But purists. That's a good. That's a nice one-word summary of what I'm trying to say. But my question is more about, like, in the public, in those who would consume any products we might create. Has there been a shift in demand? Did there used to be a demand for the, like, really cool original character, but nowadays there's not as much a demand from you know, the public or whoever? So that's my real question there, is about whether there's a shift in those who would consume what we might create.
Answer that, Apollo.
Oh,
He's like, oh.
yeah, I agree.
yeah,
I mean, for me, I'm kind of like not out of the box. I'm not in the box. I'm kind of above the box. My music journey is completely different. I don't expect to get famous. I don't expect to get any kind of money out of this deal. I'm doing it pure for the sonics and the frequency. You know, like T said, the frequency is really what got me into it. You know, a couple years ago, I had a heart attack. I thought I was done. I was playing video games for like my free time, and yelling at the screen, and, you know, and I love music. And when I'd sit there and listen to music, it was great. And I found myself listening to music that was 20, 30, 40 years old constantly. And then, so that's what got me into it, guys, is I just, I want to make beats like they did back in the 90s, the 70s, you know, and make music for myself. So it's like, you know, I'm not really on that page, you know, I'm going to get a hit record, or, you know, I'm going to do this, you know. Anybody enjoys my music, fine. It's great. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just for me.
Yeah,
I
and
think
Apollo, I'm with you too
I
on
love
that,
that,
by the way,
yeah.
because You know, like I only do it for fun. And just so you know too, Apollo, that there are 2 people on this call that actually died and came back to life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we're in your we're in your presence right now.
I think as far as the public consumption of, if it's like hip hop, to me is now, like, to really answer Recon's question, if I'm not an artist and I'm just going to a record store, I'm probably like, yeah, hip hop is going to be more like vinyl making a comeback,
Right.
or like CDs
Yeah.
making a comeback. Somebody's going to look at it and go, and maybe it's for the first time, and go, oh my God, what is this? Or then you're going to have guys like us who've listened to a wide range of music going, oh man, I remember back in the day, this album came out.
Yeah.
I don't know if hip hop is on the top of the charts like some people think it is. Yeah, it's one of if not the largest genres out there that's banging right now. But it's hard to say if people are really going to the store nowadays for
Right.
a particular thing. You know,
Yeah.
nowadays I believe there's so many musicians and so many artists for those that just want to consume music and not play music. I think now is the era of, you go wherever you go, you hear someone playing music, it sparks your ear. I'm a cop that. Or I go into a record store and the owner's playing something over the speakers. You're like, oh my God, what is that? You know, I can ask my son, who's not really big into hip hop or soul, or he likes everything. And when you try to bring up the meaning of hip hop to my son, or even maybe my daughter, they don't care. They don't care about history
You're
of
right.
Yeah.
one genre
Ain't nobody
or
want to hear that
another.
bullshit. Yeah.
And I think it's bliss because they're living in the moment of what they hear. Yeah,
Facts.
education into something is great, but they don't care.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the case with most consumers, is they find something they like. I mean, how
They
many
go
people
at
do
it.
you really know want to investigate the origins of?
Right.
You
And I
know?
think when it was new, Recon, that's when people were really drawn to hip hop in that manner, right?
Yeah.
So like you had there were heroes in hip hop for us, right? Like we all had heroes in hip hop.
For sure.
And we were like, man, I can't wait till that new Cool G rap and Polo joint drops. I
Yep.
can't wait till the Wu-Tang come out.
Yeah, you
I
go to the
can't
store
wait,
immediately.
until
Right,
NWA
right.
drops something. You know, we had hip hop heroes. And now, honestly, for instance, I like, music from Big Sean and people like that too. But the thing is, it's but I'm not waiting for the next Big Sean album to drop. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like if he comes out and I hear a song that's dope, I'm like, oh, yo, that's pretty dope. But it's not like I'm waiting, like when I heard Redman was dropping an album, bro.
And
guys,
it was worth
I
it was
was
worth
like,
every
Muddy
waiting
Waters
minute.
too.
of it.
I was like I felt like I was back in the day and I was
Shining
fiending
example.
for a hip hop album.
Mhm.
And I must have played that joint. I played a lot of times when I'm working out. And I must have played that joint for 2-3 weeks straight, every day.
Yeah,
Like,
it was the
know.
first time in a long time that I bumped an album back to back like that and didn't skip a
Yeah.
track.
Like
And
every
Redman
song
was
on,
the first
on the
time
album
in
was dope.
decades that did that to me.
Muddy Waters.
Because a
Yeah,
lot of
Muddy
songs are
Waters
just
too, yeah.
fillers, man. They're not telling a story.
Exactly.
They're not,
Right.
and those are the joints that I would love to wait for a CD to drop or a tape to drop. I'll be going to the Coconuts. Remember Coconuts back in the day?
Hell yeah.
I used to go there to the Wiz or whatever and
Oh
go.
man, you said the Wiz.
Yeah, man, and just go and just
Yo,
be waiting.
Recon is laughing too. 'Cause you
I'm
already
telling
know,
you,
man, Long
'cause it's
Island
like-
in the house, stand
But
up. yo.
the feeling of getting an album and opening it up to
Yeah.
read the
Right.
lyrics or the credits.
Seeing
It's
the
like,
video.
okay, yeah, it's digital now, but it's not the same feeling. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
it's not tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
yeah,
physical
yeah,
thing
yeah.
that you get. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like the excitement. You're like, oh, I'm gonna cop this,
Yeah.
and then you get tight when they be like, oh, we sold the last copy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
It's
And
kinda
all you
like-
want
to
to
see-
I'm about to tear your damn store up.
Yeah,
Right.
and all you want to see, like she said, was you want to see the lyrics, you want to see the pictures,
Right.
you wanted the
Yeah.
inside of the
Yeah.
artist's life, so you can get that much closer. But
Man,
uh,
you said that, man. You just
Yeah.
said that, bro.
and then to Recon's point, before I lose my train of thought, is a consumer nowadays, you're gonna buy what you love, and you're gonna buy what you want until you come across something else. It's not like, so these other artists, if like for us in here, we gonna search out the artists we used to love and the ones that kind of make some relevant sense. But it's so wide now, bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best thing
It's
to
so
know
wide.
for young Enzo, the best thing for you to know about hip hop that's gonna take you a long way, is remember this, bruh. And I heard this from a 5%er a long time ago. He said, hip hop is the love letter, and the beat is the envelope you ship it off in.
Word.
They go hand in hand.
I love that.
And if you're gonna receive a message, that's how you're gonna receive it.
I love that.
And if that
Yeah.
letter has ill intent, it's gonna fuck you up for the rest of your life.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
And
'Cause
that's why they
'cause
say to make sure to be careful about your diet. You know what I'm saying? Your diet's not just what you eat, it's what you watch, it's what you hear. You know what I'm saying? So
it's what you
it-
feed in your soul. So,
exactly. And if it got intent, if it got the intentions are evil vibes, then it's going to affect you. And people think it's like, oh, it's just music. Oh, it's just, and like, it's not
Yeah, it's
just
not.
music. It's
not.
like we live in a
that
world of
alchemy.
frequency, vibration.
It's
You know
the
what I'm saying?
vibe.
So like, you ever seen those experiments with the water, and they be like, oh, speak positive to the water, and how
Yeah.
how it turns different, and like the
Yeah.
crystals, it crystallizes
Molecules,
different when
yeah.
it's positive and it's negative. It's the same thing.
We
You
were
got to be
just
careful because that
And-
tongue is
and-
is powerful.
Oh, and see, T-Sketch, look, the thing is, people, they sleeping. Here we go, Rico. Here we go, guys. And what percentage of our body is water?
70%.
1%.
That's what I'm
Cymatic.
saying.
That's the cymatic she was talking about. T.
Absolutely.
And I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let me
Trap
No
rap,
sense.
boom rap.
let me
See,
real quick
look, and,
address this.
young Enzo, man, we about to school you, brother.
So let me get on here before
And I'm all
I
here to
lose-
listen.
I'm gonna lose the chat over here real quick. Let me say what's up to some people in the chat over here. First of all, 005 Dynasty.
Oh,
He
what's
said,
up, brother, man? I wish
he
you were
was
up
talking
in
about
here,
a
man.
question earlier. Recons, the market is controlled by content creators. The companies use the content creators to move hip hop in the direction they want it as. You see,
Yeah,
them
that's
controlling the
probably about-
masses. Yeah,
That's
so-
probably about 60%
Facts.
accurate. Yeah, I'd say 60% of that is true. And then the corporations, they probably have the rest of that. And, 05 Dynasty, my brother, I wish you were up in here. I got to tell you something, man. Absolutely, man. Between the content creators and those corporations, man, they got some nefarious planning going on, brother.
Gatekeepers.
Listen, them labels are heavily invested into the prison system.
Yes, they
Oh
are.
hell yeah! The state
Yeah.
system,
Prison
Social
system,
system.
the
and,
social system.
Yeah,
social
everything,
yeah, and,
everything.
pharmaceuticals.
But it's
the
so
whole deal.
easy to pump them in when the kids are like, oh, I'm gonna be like my favorite rapper. I'm gonna have guns and drugs. I'm gonna be in the
100%
trap house, and then
Yup.
they in the mansion
yeah,
chilling.
ain't
Yep.
that
They
some
not in the
shit?
hood.
Yeah, crazy.
Don't
They not in
forget
the
the
hood.
fashion industry as well.
Yep,
because
the
they
fashion
Yeah.
industry too. Yes,
Oh
sir.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yes,
they're
sir.
all connected.
Uh-oh.
Holly Weird, all of that.
Two Papa
Yeah.
wants to fight me over
Hey.
tacos.
Oh.
I had this
Listen,
conversation with
boys.
Destructo, not to derail his, or whatever. I was in Curtis King's chat. We were talking about tacos or whatever, being from the Southwest, Mexico, all that other stuff, like trying to throw this at me, Destructo too. I'm at both of you guys. I still stand by my statement. AZ over California tacos all day. They have better Mexican food. You can say what you want.
Yeah.
I stand
man.
by my story.
King Taco, bruh. King.
Let me tell you something. They're viral beats. I don't know if that's really that accurate because if you think
Go,
about
to,
it,
go hang out in Phoenix for a couple of days and you'll see it.
California is Mexico.
Well, same with
word.
so is Arizona. So is Arizona. And in Phoenix, where I grew up, there was a taco like everywhere. It's all Mexican food everywhere. When I went to California one time, I went to a taco place. They were like, "Yo, you probably don't got shit like this where you're at." I'm like, "What are you talking about? We got one on every corner. We got way more. I had to drive out of my
Taco
way
Cabeza
to go out of
340.
here to get this over here."
Taco
So that
truck
means
on
you
every
gonna
corner.
host a taco battle or something?
Destructo's just mad because he got
Y'all, hey, look, y'all
you
don't
know,
want to go
Tucson
there with
be fucking
T-Sketch.
up on their Mexican food.
That
That's
girl
why.
don't just look. That girl don't just cook with beets, man. She actually
Yeah.
cook with
If I may-
fire, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
y'all
never
better
had
be
taco
aware.
before.
You never
Never had a taco.
Oh,
You
you
should
should
do
your
Do that immediately.
So we about to come
That
to
should be the next thing you
and
do.
we all gonna cook tacos for you, man.
Apollo
We're
Village,
gonna lay out.
motherfucker, taco.
We're gonna lay out all the ingredients,
Hey,
see what
hey,
you
guys,
can
I gotta-
obtain there, and then be like,
Who-
okay, what
where
can
you
you
going-
get
where you
right
going,
there where
Hanzo?
you're at? Get all these ingredients together. We're gonna,
Hold
we're
on,
gonna have
hold
you
on,
make
guys.
your own
Hang on.
tacos.
Hanzo's saying something.
I got to run something up to my mom real quick. It'll be about 10 minutes. Should I just stay in here or should I leave?
Yeah, stay in.
Yeah.
Hanzo.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll be right
Get
back,
on
guys.
mute, my boy.
Yeah.
And before we have to bounce out, I'm gonna say one thing really quick.
Yeah,
that
we
I've
only
been-
got a couple of minutes.
that I've been dying to say, and I've been dying to know what you guys think. And I would stay up at night just wondering because I was just like, oh, it's got to be how many unheard bars that never made it to the ears of the public in ciphers back in the day that was absolute fire that you'll never like. Can we honestly say that there's some bars that are left in the universe right now that was so probably badass that we would never ever hear them?
I could tell you right now,
Man.
I have rocked parties with thousands of people, at a time, and really have moved crowds in ways that I never thought me at 16, 17 years old would be able to do. None of that shit was recorded ever. We used to put up the turntables every weekend, 4 of them, 2x4s, bust out the kegs. We're the biggest party crew in Phoenix, in Arizona, and crazy times. And a lot of that shit, most of it, not recorded at all. I have some
Damn.
mixtapes out there circulating that people have that I'll never see or hear. Some stuff may resurface later on, but as far as video, maybe 1 or 2 people have some clips here and there of me rapping at an after party to a rave, and that's it. Out of all those thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of hours, however many hours you could get, it was just so many. I mean, it was hours at a time every night for, a whole spell of my life. So, yeah. I know directly what you're talking about here because I got some stuff. I'm like, man, if I could only remember that shit that I did in that moment.
I think that's
I
like
like it. Go ahead, T-Sketch.
I think that's like for me, it's a bucket list type of thing because it's like, don't let my music die in the graveyard with me. You know what I'm saying? So
No doubt. No
That's
doubt.
one of the reasons why I exist on here, and a lot of us do.
exactly,
as musicians on
and
this
I think that's the
platform, too.
beauty of being able to actually be independent now, like having these platforms
Facts.
that we didn't have in the 90s, to where it don't matter if I'm signed or not. I could still drop my music. If I want to record right now and drop a 16, I can, and just put it out there, and it'll just go out in the universe, whether it's one
And
place
do what it's gonna do.
and people, it don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? So
Versus
like,
nobody hearing anything ever and not having anything
right.
dictated.
But then
Right.
also the whole conversation of, oh, you're too old, you need to stop rapping. It's like, bro, like hip hop has grown with, I grew up with hip hop. So you expect me to stop it just because I'm
Right.
older?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
hell
Right,
no.
right.
Yeah,
Like,
what
I
am I
got
so?
wisdom.
What are we supposed to get knitting needles out? What the fuck?
That's what I'm saying. I got
Yeah,
wisdom, I got
yeah.
experience, but I think
Yes,
it's the
we
dumbest
are
shit
viral.
because no other genre on this earth worries about people's age. Everybody else is touring.
It's
doing their
crazy,
thing.
Right,
ain't
right,
it?
right.
The ageism
Every
thing
form of music
is
except hip-hop,
mutually
right?
exclusive to hip hop. Ain't that
That's
some
what I'm saying.
shit?
And they're like, oh, you gotta be hip, you gotta be young. It's like, everybody grows old. So let's get over that. Like,
Right,
yeah, act like
exactly.
you old, you're gonna be young
That doesn't
forever.
mean like you done lost everything that's in here.
Right.
It don't
And
mean
I-
that you
and I
lost
feel like with
everything
age
that's
it
in
gets
here.
better. You got
Yeah,
you got
exactly.
better things to
You're
spit about.
seasoned.
Now
You're
you're
seasoned.
speaking from
Seasoned.
experience, and for those of us that choose to heal from our trauma, let's not, you know what I'm saying? Because we
Yeah.
got a lot of
Yeah.
trauma that we're
A lot
we're
of
not talking
'90s
about.
trauma.
Listen,
But
trauma
I
in all
want
kinds
to
of ways.
tell you something. I liken this to sports, right, guys? Like, so think about this where we all grew up. Like, there have been parks where we grew up, and you see, like, let's say ball players. Let's just use basketball as an example. How many times have you gone to the ballpark and saw a young brother, a young sister balling out. Like, I mean,
Out of
like
control.
superstar shit going on, right? Out in the
Too
park,
many
right?
times in my day, yeah.
Right? Exactly, right? And the same thing is applies to hip hop. How many times it's, and I'm, you know, like in LA, wherever you're at, Arizona, Sweden, you've gone to places, New York, and you've seen people freestyling and rapping, and you're like blown away by their freestyles. Like some of these people are so freaking talented. They will never be signed to a label. They will never be an artist. They will never be known. They will never become famous, never rich, none of those things. And they'll only be known by you and a small crew of people that saw them get down. You guys, now y'all know this to be true. Recon, T-Sketch, riding those trains in New York. How many times have we seen dudes just banging out a beat on the subway and then rapping to that? I mean, just rapping. I mean, and killing this shit.
Yeah,
for like
even in
30
school.
minutes straight on a train ride.
Street
30 minutes
musicians are the
straight
most
freestyle.
talented. The
Just
most talented.
insane talent, right?
Look. I hate to be rude, but I got to get to
we
a
gotta
client's
go.
house.
Oh,
You guys
man,
are
it's
good.
all good.
You guys are
Take
good.
care
Don't
of
worry about it.
y'all-
I appreciate you guys
finances.
coming through for
Yeah,
sure.
y'all about to get under those horses, man?
Yeah. I
All
got
right,
to
all right.
do evaluations on them. But look, check this out. Enzo, Viro,
Yes, sir.
get me in touch with Enzo. Give me the link or something.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be
He's
able
in
to
our
cop that
Discord.
now.
He's in the Viral Beats Discord. He's a channel member. He's been supportive of this channel since the very beginning. So like,
Enzo, make
okay,
sure you
he's all
send
over
me
the
an
place.
email,
Yeah,
brother.
so I want to get over there and check that out.
Definitely.
T-Sketch, yesterday when we jumped in and we essentially came in as a mob. Look, every
I looked
beat
down and I was
heard,
like, oh shit, everybody's in here. Cool.
every beat I heard simply reminded me of old artists like Big L and KRS-One,
Ja
and
Rule the damage.
Black Moon, and
Yeah.
so stay on that path because it resonates with a lot of people you don't even think is even listening, and the ones who are on their way to your channel,
That's
they
word.
ain't even there yet.
Yeah, I can't even really listen to T-Sket's music too much, guys, because when I go on her channel, I saw listener making beats. I be feeling dirty. I gotta go shower like right after.
I got in there.
Cause girl, you filthy with it. You filthy.
I got in there and I was like, God damn, the beat is nasty. Nigga, all we need is bars.
You know what I'm saying? And she got bars too, y'all. Just so you know.
Yeah,
she got
I know.
bars.
And
got
she was doing her
bars.
little
And
ad-libs.
T-Sket's gonna be like,
And she was throwing in the voice samples and chopping that. I'm like, well, shit. It just took me back to the 90s. And for me personally, that's my style of hip hop. That's That's hip hop to me. Anything else you can find in the thrift shop, it's not going to elevate my chakras and take me forward in life. I don't go backwards. So if
I
I
think
hear
we all there with you, man.
so if I hear anything of that's negative and that don't vibe with me, it's trash. And I don't care what anybody, Jay-Z, Beyonce, all that shit is trash to me. What's hip hop is what's gonna make me a better person, treat my wife better, treat my kids better, make my life better, treat the man and woman or whatever in front of me with respect and hold on to generational wealth and love the music and love the culture. If it ain't saying that, it's bullshit to me. And that's gonna be what it is.
Yeah, my
Recon,
bottom line is elevation. That's it.
elevation.
That's it.
I got to go higher. I can't go backwards in life. Recon, you and I did
That reminds me of that Zion I track.
fantastic rendition of a hip hop beat when it's going into the future. So y'all got to check that joint out. Enzo, I'm gonna get in on you. Viral Beats, thank you. I want to do this again when I got time. So let's stay in contact.
Oh, we'll be doing another one for sure.
We're gonna do quite a few.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I know Apollo is gone, but the only reason why I'm an Apollo fan is because of the exact same thing y'all was talking about. That man's music makes you think of the 80s. It makes you think of the 90s. It makes you think of the 70s. And he's always taking me back to my past. Anybody who could take me back to my past when times was good for me is a solid artist. And everybody in chat, thank y'all for showing up. I know a lot of you guys are artists. I was watching that. Some of the things Eternian was saying, that's my boy too, because he on some different shit too. But hey, it was nice to be here. I love you all. We will be
love you too, brothers.
snooping around the channels for sure. I'm glad we in contact. Thank you to Viral Beats for making this shit happen, because he always in my ear. Go look at this artist. Go look at that artist. That man is literally the human link to everything.
He's not the hidden link, but he's
My
the
last
human
life over here. I'm making it count.
Are the strongest link.
But Viral is very passionate about hip hop, and
Word.
I love that man for that. He's always supported us. I mean, when he say he gonna support somebody, Viral Beats don't just show up for 5 minutes and be like, "Go fuck yourself." Viral Beats
I'm in for the duration, folks.
he has a very long attention span, and he will park his ass somewhere and he will represent you.
And all I gotta say is, before this dude goes on and on and on, taking all the limelight.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, brother. You don't know how to shut up. But look,
You
look
see how it is with
the best
twins?
thing about
Those are my
twins
brothers.
is
Those are my
he
brothers.
said everything that I wanted to say.
Goddamn. He used your side of the brain.
He's like,
shit on the
ditto.
nail. Look. He hit that shit right on the nail.
Look,
Yeah,
and both of y'all
yeah.
stop
Just give him the
using
Dr.
both
Dre's
sides
hell
of my
yeah. Get the
brain.
fuck out of here.
Hey, son. I don't know if
Yes,
they
sir.
believe us, but we really triplets, and y'all gonna find out one day.
You know what I'm saying? Man, they don't, man, wait till y'all see. Wait till y'all see. We got
All right.
papers, y'all. We got papers.
We got papers. We got papers.
Hey, can't see in this motherfucker.
You know what I'm saying?
Look,
Your brand, bro.
peace to the gods and nerds.
All right.
Listen, God's an earth.
Catch y'all later.
Peace.
Peace. Yep.
Take care.
Word is bond.
Yo, that's dope.
And that's
But,
all love
yeah.
right
So-
there. That's family.
Yeah, it's dope, and this is the thing, like the world of hip hop that connects us all. You know, I didn't think meeting these guys here at Symptoms of Reality that they even had any kind of inclination towards hip hop in any way, shape, or form. Like I didn't throw any judgments at it, but like once you make that discovery, just kind of like with Apollo over here, you know, you figure it out and you're just like, oh yeah, we having that conversation too. You know, it's like we all known each other for years, and like literally a lot of us have known each other for years. I've known T-Sketch for years. I was a little bit later to her channel, but like it's already been like 2.5, 3 years. You know, Sun is the same deal. You know what I mean? Kriak's been on here since for a minute. You know, like we're going on years of these established friendships and relationships here on YouTube, and we're developing new ones. And a lot of it is through the guise of not only music, but hip hop in general. And to answer your question that you were saying earlier, Recon, about, you know, the way that the perception of reality is as far as things go, and the way that, you know, it's being received by, you know, not only the general public, but the people on here, the people out here who are checking for music in a real way, I think for the most part, they're checking here on these platforms, like here on YouTube. We're finding out that, hey, you know, and I'm just discovering this myself too. A lot of the artists that I grew up with and shit, even with Redman, you know, I subscribed to his channel because realized he's active on his own music channel, and I said, yo, that's fire, and he loved it, you know. So like it's weird to just kind of connect these dots in a way that we haven't been able to in the past, and now that we have this convergence of technology that is kind of did this explosion of social media bullshit, and we're kind of winding down and narrowing the focus to, okay, what do we really want out of these platforms? And I think the music people are finding the music people, and the hip hoppers are finding the hip hoppers. And I think people who had these judgments on hip hop before are starting to lighten those judgments a little way, the same way that like my mom's generation really hated gangster rap or whatever, but connecting these dots to these records and stuff like that, realizing sonically speaking, you're talking the same equipment and synthesizers and all that, like you can enjoy it the same if you could get over the way that we talk, because we're all rough around the edges because we grew up hard, you know, for the most part. And I think people are checking for hip hop. People are checking for real authenticity in music, and this time period's you know, a great time to be working on hip hop and talking about hip hop and reflecting the culture in a real meaningful way, all elements considered, and you know, all subgenres considered as well. So yeah, I really think that's where things are at here, Recon, with the way that people are checking for music and have the ability to. I think people are realizing that streaming services are not the move and aren't really paying people, so their favorite artist isn't getting out there the
Oh,
way that they
definitely
were
not.
before.
I
like-
think Who's going?
recalling what someone said earlier of these unknown rappers who you can find in this like a metro station, like spitting bars, and then sometimes when they go viral, they change immediately because they want to follow the
Yeah.
trend so they
Right,
can make
right.
fast money,
They
right?
got to try to
And
recreate.
yeah, exactly. So and now, like the general population, like who are into what they call hip hop today, want quantity over quality. So
Yeah, you're
that's
right.
one of like
You're right. You're
so
right, and
if
it's
you
and it's sad too because you remember them when they were just doing their thing, like really doing their thing, and you're like, wait a minute, what is this? Like, this is not the guy or gal that I heard, like in the subway, in the metro. They was killing it in the metro.
And I think it's dope
Well, I
that people are making whole YouTube channels based on doing that live performance thing. So go ahead, T
Yeah,
Sketch. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I think it just speaks to the shift of
yeah.
where the planet is,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And
I
how the
agree.
consciousness of the planet
Here
is
we go.
like
Let's
more people
go.
are being awakened, you know what I'm saying? Like on
Man,
some real shit, not the, oh, I'm just woke and I see them work. Like not the fake
Yeah.
woke, like the actual, like you're seeking out knowledge of self. You're seeking out how to grow and heal spiritually,
Which is where
making
woke
sure that
came
you're
from, which is where I mean, Erica Badu
right.
said it,
But
like,
that's what
yo,
I'm
this is
saying.
woke, and they're
Your
trying to make
mental
it,
health is very important.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And like what I think is because the industry doesn't make it profitable to have substance in your music. Because if they
yeah,
did, you best believe they'd be like, yo, I gotta put this message in this, you know what I'm saying? Like they would care about it, but like the money is how ignorant can you get? How
yeah,
how much can you dumb it down to the point where you're leading people down to the hellfire? You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Figuratively speaking. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like it's all about where you are as far as like your awareness. And I think that's to answer Recon's thing. It's like it's about where is your awareness at? What frequency are you tuned into?
yeah,
And that's what you're gonna seek out. Because when you know how I know you said that, oh, that whole hip hop is dead, but like, was it really ever dead or was it hidden?
yeah, yeah,
Was it because it was still because the underground is still there? You just have to you gotta find it. You know what I'm saying? And now it's
yeah,
even doper because we have the internet. Now, to me, I've
yeah,
always said the internet is a gift and a curse. Why? Because you could use it for positive and negative. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? But because we have the internet, somebody like me in the Midwest can connect with somebody like Enzo who's in the UK, right?
It's
So
crazy.
like this is what I'm saying. So now that we have the platforms, now it's
Time to use them the
well, if
right
you have a
way.
platform, now we got to control what you're saying. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It was always the control
Suppressing
of
content and
that's what I'm saying.
algorithms. Yeah.
If your message is too positive and you're bringing unity, get the fuck up out of here with that. They don't want that.
You should have seen the way that they used to kill my mental health videos because we're a music channel over here and the algorithm would kill them dead as hell. The 40 views or something when I was out here getting 200-300 off of my stuff and just not showing it the same way that they're trying to keep me away from Creax over here and the Enzo's content over here. They're trying to, even though I'm subscribed and he's a channel member and like we have this connection, the algorithm's like, I'm still not going to tell you that he's live streaming because he's not active as you are. And I'm just
Right.
like, but like we're still connected in this way, the same way that they're like, yo, we're not gonna connect you to Ben Jordan or Venus Theory, even though you like know them and have affiliate links and like like are really like doing this because you love it or whatever. None of that matters because the suppression algorithms do what they do, especially when it comes to that positivity. You got to exist within that genre in order to exist for the algorithms to there, because there is a positive genre out there and the whole thing, but that is YouTube's control, and the algorithms, just like these other streaming platforms, are the same way, the way that they control
And that's why
the
you have to have
artists.
your own platform because it's like YouTube's cool, but when you have your website, now you have your
Yeah,
email list. And now if their websites go down, whether it's YouTube,
you'll
Instagram,
have it.
Facebook, it don't matter. You could still get to your people. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because at any given time,
they could
everybody's
take it
hype about
away.
these followers, but they could pull them from
They
you.
could
What you
take it
gonna do
away.
then? If you don't have those people in your email list, how you gonna contact them?
Yeah, it's
How
true,
you gonna
man.
speak to them?
How many
You know what I'm
channels
saying?
have we seen fall over the years on YouTube that had a huge following, had a huge momentum, and then all of a sudden, it's not like they just stopped doing content. Their channel was deleted and all their stuff was
Yeah,
removed.
dead stick. Yeah.
And
So yeah, you've definitely got to build your own networks.
But
But
also,
Recon,
go ahead.
come on, man. I just see Recon is. I see the wheels turning.
Turning.
Recon.
He's stewing.
Come on, man. Come on. I can hear you thinking, brother.
I'm just listening to what everybody's saying. I'm very appreciative of what T Sketch is saying over here about this, you know, consciousness and such.
Yeah, you know, and isn't it funny how many people they don't even want to go to that place? And see, Enzo, like I hope we can really encourage you right now, young brother, to really like step into that whole aspect of it about being conscious, about being truly having an intellect that is awake, and not to fall into the trap and just think, oh, because you know my age group, people think my age group is this, or think that we belong only in this or that.
Yeah.
You know, never allow yourself to get put in any kind of box. Okay, man, seriously. Allow yourself to elevate and grow way beyond that. Because look, I'm gonna speak for myself because I'm the oldest person here. You're the future, man. Okay. You are absolutely our future. You are our legacy.
For sure.
So we need you, man. And we need you to you know, to run forward and run your best race, man.
And there always has to be a bridge between the young and the old.
Definitely.
It should be each one teach one. We could both learn from each other. It shouldn't be the, oh, you old head, oh, you youngin'.
Right.
Like it's so stupid,
weird.
you know.
It's weird, especially
but
for Gen X. We're like, what are you guys arguing?
Yeah, we should be
about? It's
together.
But
so
that's the
weird.
division. You got to think about it. It's always been
Yeah.
when it comes to like the beginning of time. It's all about divide and conquer because you can control people that way.
Yep.
That's the only way to control people. Put them in fear, and then they will not do not question.
Correct.
Just follow.
Yeah.
Don't question. I'm gonna tell you how to sit, stand, speak. You know what I'm saying? Sleep, eat, whatever. You know what I'm
There
saying?
you go.
Like,
There's your
What to
your
drink,
placism.
you
That's your
know.
That's what I'm
placism
saying.
right there, Enzo. They trying to say like the authority or the people that believe they're in control. And brother Viral, T-Sketch, Recon, you already know, we know they're not in control. Not really.
Yeah. Because
Like,
if they
you
would,
know,
they'd
if
have
you're-
this
if
figured
you're
out and be able
really
to replicate
aware-
the success of these
Yeah.
organic moments and movements instead
They
of
have
saying,
control of the
like,
frequency.
oh
We're-
shit,
we-
you
we
made it
really
this
do have
popular?
control of the
Hey,
frequency.
we'll participate now. That's
3D
pretty much
maybe.
what they do.
So Enzo, yeah, you are our legacy, brother. You are
Yeah,
our legacy,
for
man.
sure.
I knew I was OG. Look, when I started having, so once I passed 50, right? That's when they consider you OG, right? And I knew I actually became OG, y'all. Here's how I knew it. And everybody who's watching on the internet knows this too. Once you got young dudes in their 30s call you OG and you didn't prompt them to call you OG.
But check this out.
You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't even prompt you. You didn't prompt them rather, you know, to say that. They were just like, yo, OG, peep game. You know, I'm like, oh man. I said, this is, yo, you know, it went from uncle, it went from unk
Unk.
Yep.
to
Yeah.
OG.
Yeah, Unk
Like,
status.
you know what I'm saying? It went from unk to OG. And I was like, damn, that's crazy.
But that's the thing. When
don't
I was
know.
like 12 years old and, you know, the OGs were 10 years older than that, you know, I'm over here and you're about 10 years older than me. So like,
Yeah,
it's,
right. Well,
it's just
yeah,
a natural
right, yeah.
course of the.
I
Yo,
mean, like, but
I
only
called
at your
Apollo
age, 'cause you
Hanzo's brother, his dad, on accident, referred to him because he was the age and looked exactly like my dad did at the time.
So look, so
I was
look,
like, oh,
Viral,
whoops.
Recon, and T-Sketch, you auntie, and y'all uncles, okay? Y'all are unks, you auntie,
can't.
and I'm OG. And see, and you
got the triple
you's a young,
OG.
and you young blood, you's a youngin', man. I mean, that's you still in there,
real.
man, and
He
which is
said, "I'm
all, and that's
OG."
all
I'm
good.
Done.
Thank you.
So done.
Yeah, and that's kind of I mean, while we're on the whole isms thing and talking about the age thing, you know, there is a conversation to be had about the limitations of our age and the fact that we do age to a certain point to where we can't do what we used to do as far as
Yeah,
jumping around
yeah.
and doing flips on stage and everything like
Exactly,
that.
we ain't
All
doing
that
that.
shit runs
That's
its
not
course
happening.
at a certain time, but
If you take care of your body, you can.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
I mean,
yeah,
you know,
there you
yeah,
go. There's
hey,
the
you right,
first part of
T-Sketch.
it.
You know what, T-Sketch, you're right. Like
Your immunity comes from what you eat, brother. Like
if-
your stomach is your second brain.
absolutely,
And the trauma you
and-
put
and
your
if I
body
didn't
through as
have-
well.
Exactly.
If I didn't have the injuries, right, like that I have from my time in
Bunch of
service
soft
in the
memory
military,
foam
I'll
pillow
tell you,
having
You can still
ass.
heal
I
yourself,
would,
though.
yeah, exactly. And I wish I could do those backflips. I'm not, but look, I probably could get to that point. But I got to tell you something, T-Sketch. I'm not sure I would trust myself doing a backflip anymore. Like,
I wouldn't even
I'm
try.
just being
I wouldn't even
honest.
be able
I'm
to
just
get
being
there.
honest because
I'd
I'll mess
snap my
around,
spine.
do that backflip. Next minute, you know, I'm calling you, T-Sketch, talking about like, see, this is your fault, T-Sketch. I'm in traction right now. It's your fault. I'm in the hospital. It's like, you know.
So I wanted to. This is kind of on the list, and we have been knocking a bunch of these things that we've had on the list down in the conversations too.
Yeah.
But one thing that we really haven't, addressed, but kind of just touched down on in a little bit is the stuff that happened at the beginning and the stuff that kind of leads it to the current perspective of hip hop is the battle rap community. So, battle rap, people realize that, in the beginning it was just DJs. The MC was there to promote the DJ. That's why most of the songs were about the DJ. That's why it's DJ Jazzy Jeff
Absolutely,
and
it
the
was.
Fresh Prince. The DJ was the stage man. The MC was the co-conspirator, if you will, over here, the supporting role, and it just kind of flipped because, people, you get a certain amount of humans together, but then you got people and their beefs and, people in the neighborhood and stuff like that. People have problems. They got problems with each other. They start airing out those grievances live in effect. We see it here on YouTube. It's in public, with everything, every genre. It's not just music. It's not just hip hop, but with hip hop, we settle it in a very unique way when it comes down to it. And that unique way used to be the stepping stone that would get you into the industry, and that would be the thing that you had to do. That's why we were in the battle rap community back in the mid-'90s, because it's something that you had to do. It was a part of paying dues until it wasn't. So, but then there's been other resurgence because now there is this a cappella format of battle rap that has existed for the last 20 years or so. Here we are back to battles on record, reaching full stadiums and, Kendrick and Drake
cool.
and reaching the
dope.
courtures now. Like, holy shit.
Right. I mean,
and I
that's
know
crazy,
T-Sketch
but
has a lot to
it's
say
dope.
about this whole thing,
Yeah.
especially with Drake and his
But-
kind of like what you were saying earlier about the fighting money versus bars. You can't sit here and be like, yo, I got all this money, I made this bag, and what you got?
has
I
nothing
got
to do with
fucking
talent.
bars,
It has-
asshole.
You got that
They're
right.
like,
It
that
has
right.
none. That's what I'm saying. And they always want to be like, oh, but you broke. What? We ain't talking about whose bank account is fatter. That's a cop out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, don't try to change the subject. Like,
Bars
if we're
ain't broke.
talking about, that's what I'm saying. If we're talking about the artistry, like your pen, right? So like, I kind of like compare it to a singer, right? What is a singer's like power? Their voice, right?
Absolutely.
Right? With hip hop, it's our voice, but it's our pen because of the poetry, because of the way that you're riding the beat, you're in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like the different flows, and then you got the entendres and
It's tricky.
just the metaphor.
Run
Like
DMC.
it's sick. So it's like, okay, yes, you want to be an actor. You want to be an actor, fine. You want to be an entertainer, fine. But you don't be coming with, oh, I'm the illest MC. Like, you cannot be an MC if
that's a
you do
crazy
not write
claim.
your rhymes. I don't care what anybody says. We could talk about this all day. Like, that's
Talk
where
about
I
it.
have
Let's
my
go.
pride at. That's why I got a whole duffel bag full of rhymes here, and ain't nobody ever written that shit. I
This
wrote
shit's
it. And I'm
decades
pro-
old. This
that's
is just
what I'm
my
saying.
old rhymes. This is
Right,
just what I
right.
used to dictate
and
on
see, and
paper.
T-Sketch and Recon.
I'm proud
so-
of that though. That's the thing. That's where my
Yeah.
pride is, and that's where my power's in my pen.
No
so
doubt.
like,
No
I'm
doubt.
not about to be like, oh,
I
let
did
me
that
get these
until I did
ghostwriters.
this.
Let me like.
Oh, no,
I understand
no,
if you're
no.
trying to put
Can't
a
have a
hit
ghostwriter.
song
I
together,
went
and then
back.
you got 25 people on it. Like, I get it, but like, we're not talking about that.
No,
we're talking
we ain't
about
talking about your
you spit a
friends either.
16,
Yeah.
I spit a 16. Fine. There's different levels to it. You know what I'm saying? But like, I
Mm-hmm.
hate the whole fake. Oh, this is all me. This is all me. This is
Yeah,
all-"
and
no,
then-
it's
and it's-
not.
Yeah, it's good to
It's
get my
not, so
push-ups
stop the
in. It's
cat.
like, what the fuck you mean push-ups? Push-ups, you're not even
Yeah.
doing the exercise. You're not doing the mental exercise.
You-
You're not
you
doing
know
the
what's
lyrical
crazy,
exercise.
y'all?
You were
Like,
just memorizing
so-
lines. There's no push-ups involved.
Exactly. Think about this guy's in New York, and I know my
Fucking
New
Drake.
Yorkers know this
Drake
is
got us
true.
heated over
This is
here.
very,
Fucking
very
guy.
true. Do you guys remember back in the day how it used to be? Okay, so when someone in the neighborhood, now you'll like this, Enzo. Somebody in the neighborhood heard you could rhyme. They heard you were some lyricist. You were supposed to be dope. Man, I don't care if you on the subway, metro, you on the bus, you was in some neighborhood and you walking down the street and people heard about you and know who you are, they'd roll up on you. And I mean, like, it'd be crazy, right? Like, you be walking down the street and it'd be like 3, 4, 5 brothers like running up on you like they about to jump you. And they're like, yo, what's up, son? Yo, I heard you could spit, dog.
Yep.
And they're
Show
like,
us
yo,
something.
and I'm like, yeah. And they're like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let me hear something. And I mean, and you already knew kind of in a way, like, okay, am I getting ready to get beat down if I don't spit something dope?
For real.
Like, it was like that serious.
Yeah.
It was like that serious. It was like, whoa, this is
I
crazy.
used to get in
yo.
fights
Like,
for having better bars than the opponent, and it used to happen more with me being a white boy or whatever.
yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say,
yeah.
man. See, look, you had this wrong skin tone for like out rapping somebody else.
Yeah.
Believe me, this
It was a whole thing in my life
Eminem
and
was
career,
a unique
yeah.
character in Detroit.
Say,
doing
how
that.
dare
Trust
you?
me.
Yo.
Yeah, they were like, what?
Yeah, because the thing is that when it comes to MCing and battle rap and stuff, you go on first impressions and shit. But when you know the look of somebody who has a problematic spirit, and you're like, yo, you probably have issues with your family, and like your dad left you, and like you'll say some shit and it'll land on accident, and you're like, whoops. But that's the thing about it. That's the difference between having an observationalist and somebody who really pays attention. There's a big difference between seeing what's on the surface and be like, oh, that white boy ain't shit, which was most of the time, but when I come through, and I start bringing it out of them and like, yo, you can't get a square meal tonight, you're going to have to find a place to live, and sometimes it's like, oh shit, I got to go back to the shelter. Like, like not, and it's not specifically, but when you can put something into perspective ahead of time, and one of the best times that I had this battle that I did with somebody, and I had pre-planned that I was going to do this, and somewhere I was going to fit this line in, and I had this line, and I was talking about your raps are trash and all this shit. I had a piece of paper in my pocket crumbled up that literally said your raps in it, and I threw it at him during the battle, and somebody in the crowd picked it up and looked at it and it said your raps, and these motherfuckers started passing around this piece of paper. Oh shit, this motherfucker threw a piece of paper at him and said your raps after telling him his raps is trash, and he pulled out his water. Like, it's shit like that.
Yeah,
Shit
man,
like
that's fun,
that.
man.
But
That's fun. That's fun.
that almost got me fucked up. But everybody in there knew the steez, and it was like, in battle situations, you hit somebody in the chest and you get that feeling going, and it's just you can't walk away from that if you're just like, oh shit. But if you're there to take the stage and grab the mic and be like, I've made this effort to grab this microphone, you could get the smoke too. So,
But you
a
better
lot of
bring it.
people weren't prepared. They weren't prepared for coming up
But
there and
that's
being
why
like, they're like, oh,
you
let
do
me
not.
just fuck this white boy. Let me just fucking get it. You know what I mean? And nah, like, it's harder to get through when you're in the 90s and that, like, yo, you have to get through here in order to pop, because this is how you get on records. This is how your records is how you get, put on, is how motherfuckers thought it. I thought I was going to, be an MC and make millions of dollars and shit like that. I got knocked off my pedestal
I
within
mean,
the
we all did.
first year.
We sure did. We all
But
did.
don't
Like,
judge a
being
book
young.
by its cover. That's the thing. You should.
Yeah.
You always will be disappointed when you judge a book by its cover. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
that's for
Because
real.
like hip hop is in the spirit, in the soul. You know what I'm saying? You can't be like, oh well, you're this color, so you're not hip hop. It's like, really,
Exactly.
bro?
Word.
Really?
Exactly.
Like it's all
And
about
who's to help
expression.
tell who's not what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not only in hip hop, but in life in general. Like, we have these issues that are mutually exclusive to hip hop, but we also have these issues that are mostly like just the standard of living in humanity, such as you get 10 humans together, 2 of them are going to fuck it up for everybody. It's kind of like one of those things, and that's kind of would segue to where we're at currently with the whole shit. A lot of this shit is starting to unravel about our heroes, and we got the Diddy thing, we got Kanye in his clan outfit, we got African Bambaataa, like we have these people that
wild,
have
man.
been not only immersed in the culture, but have dictated the narrative and held the keys to the industry. And now we're finding out, and a lot of us have known for a long time about Diddy, you know, before the scripting and scraping, you know, scrambling and scraping line on drink champs, you know what I mean? So all this stuff
But
coming
you know
out.
what they say, man, the more money you have, right? The more money you have, the more power you have. You know, and money's not going to make you become somebody different.
It's not going to
You know,
change
money's
the
just going to
fact that
make
you're
you
It just
more,
functional
it just
like
show
that.
you
what
who you are.
are.
Yeah.
It's
It
going to make you
amplifies.
more of what you
Amplifies.
are.
Yeah, it
There you
amplifies
go.
who you
That's
are.
the word.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Exactly. And so
amplifies.
it's gonna just
That's good,
amplify
Rob
it.
Taylor.
And God forbid you get someone with that kind of money, power, authority in society, right? Becoming more of what they actually are. And imagine if they're bored at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got problems. We got
Yeah.
problems heading our way.
Yeah.
If I may go off topic,
Yeah.
regarding this of power, basically, I read uh, a report that was done, an experiment that happened in the late 70s in the United States called the Stanford experiment,
Oh yeah.
where
Yeah.
they give a couple of random people off the street power to control prisoners, however they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And some people decided, like, well, they gave me all this power, so I should abuse this prisoner. And some people didn't actually abuse the prisoner, but you could see the difference between how evil a person can really be if you give them that absolution of power.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, man.
Money. Yeah. Which is
Yeah, it's
power
just
in the
yeah,
capitalistic
and that's
society.
so like these people like and it has no color either, by the way. You know, we know that, you know, a lot of times when it comes down to, if you because now we have to get into history, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about,
Before we get
way
into
back
history,
in the, go ahead,
can I
brother.
make one
Recon.
thing? I have to head off a Zoom.
Yeah, me
So
too. Soon I got to get.
This
ready to go
was
as well.
a really dope whole like production that you guys have put on here.
This
So,
is just a test run, homie.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
we
say,
about to
like,
get in here, Recon. We're gonna
thanks
do
for
it
having
big
me.
time.
Hope you do some more. This is really dope.
Appreciate you.
And
Thanks
yeah,
for
we
coming
want you.
through.
And hey, and next time,
Salute,
Recon,
Recon.
if you can, brother, thank you first of all for being here and for your insights and questions. But also, I wanted to just say too that we hope that you will please join us for more long-term ones too as well, long format discussions like this because really love your presence and your mind, man. You're a beautiful soul, brother. So
Great
thank you
input
so
too, by
much.
the way. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. A lot of thanks and mutual whatevers.
Right on, right
Look
on.
who's back.
Gotcha.
Look who's
You have a
back.
good one, Rico.
Hey, there he is. Yep. All right. Yeah. And so, the thing about it is, if we look at things historically, Enzo, about that, is that now we get into, talking about like, okay, if you look at like ancient Europe, right? Who were the Europeans enslaving? Who were they killing? Each other.
Yep.
And then they had to, once they discovered that there were other cultures in the world, they decided, well, hey, now we can shift our attention over here to these folks. And, and then, it created this whole thing, like where we're talking about like, a very, very long term history, of, enslavement and things of that nature throughout history, right? When you put all that evil kind of stuff in the world, it tends to follow generation after generation.
baked into
after
the cake.
generation. Yeah, it's crazy how like, and it takes, so every time I hear people say, well, how come this certain demographic of people aren't over slavery or they aren't over that? Well, when you have, 300-400 years of history of that happening,
Yeah.
you can build into people the ability for them to hate themselves.
And you can't just
Absolutely.
you can't just trace your surname from the point of looking it up online. You have to go through one agency and one agency only.
Right.
Maybe
And
there's
it's not
another one
like
that
it's
does
just
it,
gonna
but like you
disappear,
have to
you
go
know?
through something specific. Your name's not your name, and if your name's not your name, and you can't have claim to
Yep.
your name in this country, you deserve reparations. That's
Absolutely.
what I say
And
about that.
there's a thing where, basically there's and so there's power, guys, in identity, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you lose your identity and the only thing you learn instead is things that deal with power and authority and things of that nature, right? You all of a sudden now it's selfishness and greed and you know, all these things. And like you said, you find out when people have absolute power over other people, you'll be shocked at like the nice people they were, you know, a half an
Yeah.
hour ago. And now they're all of a sudden, you know, they're hurting people in this environment, this prison system control thing they had.
You know, this kind of strikes an important chord that I want to make sure that we get through here. And it's kind of like the thing that discourages us as artists from moving forward. And a lot of it as like, how come I haven't made it? How come I haven't made this money? How come I haven't at least made a comfortable living moving forward? And being like, there's always these things that cause people to quit doing music, you know, when it comes down to that. And Inhibited says it here. He says, they want us in a coliseum watching and battling, you know, like fighting each other and stuff like that, you know. And yeah, you know, but to the point, you know, I kind of missed the point seeing his comment over here, but I don't know. I'll get back to it later, I'm sure. But yeah, you know, I kind of wanted to go through some of the stuff as far as the isms as far as that goes, and the way that these algorithms have pushed and bled into these other platforms and doing this, because modern day is like how things are now, and the way that things are looking on YouTube and or working on YouTube. And what I was going to say is, you know, we have these moments of discouragement that we feel, you know, why we haven't made it, you know, and why we haven't been able to pursue our craft the way that we needed to. And most of the answer falls within the lines of, because you needed a piece to move forward. There needed to be something that if you didn't have that piece in place, it would be problematic to your success. And I have just recently, in the past couple of years, have really come to light with this understanding that, damn, if I would have made it like 10 years ago or 20 years ago trying to do what I'm doing now, it would have been problematic. I would have been fucked up. Like there would have been things that I would have done and thought, not that would have been made me a bad person or made me like, you know, throwing Diddy parties and shit like that. Nothing to that extreme or anything like that. But there would be some discrepancies in my life that I wouldn't be able to take care of because I would be too busy in the shit house dealing with what I needed to. And once I shed myself of those pieces, I realized like, that barely happened at this stage of development while I'm just reaching into my 40s. A lot of it has to do with processing trauma and that kind of shit, you know, but we have these moments of discouragement. But the reality of the situation is that a lot of us think about the end result without thinking about the journey there. And we're like, oh, wait, it's because I needed to be this way. Because if I wasn't this way, I would cause a problem, not only with myself, but the people around me. There would be a discrepancy. So once you shed yourself of those discrepancies, then that's when the time that you're really ready to go out there. But a lot of people, they don't want to do the hard work. They don't see the hard work that needs to be done, so it never gets done. Or they just get too busy and they're just distracted because life is fucking hard. And it's even more difficult as a musician to get through when you have suppression algorithms, industry standards, systemic issues, you know, all these isms that come through with it. And yeah, you know, ageism, you know, is a big part of it. You know, when Killer Mike won those Grammys and was like, yo, you can't tell me that you were too old. You know, you can't tell me that your music doesn't sound good enough. You know, I'm over here at this age from a historically black college. This is a big fucking deal for me. You know,
he did that.
Yeah,
I mean, he did that,
and then proceeded to arrest him.
And then
right
proceeded
after.
to,
Of course.
Fuck the industry, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's that
that
Tech
was
Nine
crazy.
shit. That's it. You know, Tech Nine entered the industry, and you know they gave him a bunch of shit because of his expression and his fucking long spiky hair. And they're like, "Yo, you know, you're painting your face. Like, what the fuck is going on here?" And he's like, "You know what? Y'all racist as fuck. Fuck the industry. I'm gonna put my album for free, and I'm gonna make commercials about it. So fuck you." And what happened? Charted, and since then, Strange
And the
Music
biggest
runs the gamut.
independent artist.
Biggest
no doubt.
independent
No
artist
doubt.
in the world.
Yep.
Yep.
In the
And
world.
but that's why they don't want you to do it, because now you're showing people You're showing people to hack. You don't need the label, aka the glorified bank loan.
And-
The
and-
the
Exactly.
record,
That's
the
exactly what it
contracts they
is.
give you is a
what it
glorified bank
is.
loan.
That's
They
exactly what
own
it
your
is.
ass, but they don't tell you that. They make it. They dress it up all pretty.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like, oh, look
Yeah.
at this house.
Look
Look
at
at this
this
car. Look at these
advance. Look at
chains.
this
Yeah.
advance
And then
we
they're
gave
like,
you.
oh, your album didn't sell? Okay, cool. We own your ass, and we're gonna take all that back.
Where's that
Oh,
album?
oh,
we're
that
gonna- look,
food
we're
that
gonna
you
take
Where's
it-
the
ate,
we're
album
gonna
at?
take
the
it back.
recording,
Look at
all
that.
the recording
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
studio, all those hours, you gotta pay
DOC
for that.
says
You gotta
it.
pay for everything.
He
Yep.
says,
Look, we
"Fuck
gonna-
the
look, we gonna- we
paperwork.
gonna
The
take
money
it. We
made
gonna-
me overlook
Yeah.
it." When he was talking shit
Yep.
about Dre and Ruthless.
Yeah,
Fuck
we
the
gonna take it all
paperwork. The
back.
money made me overlook it. DOC.
Yeah, we're gonna take it all back. But we also, one thing, here's the thing, Enzo. This is crazy if you didn't know this about the music industry. After they give you your loan, then you got to pay back for all the record sales you didn't make from the projections,
Yep.
Right.
all the advertising
That
that they put out there, all
forced
the
you to do.
production, yeah, all the production they paid
Just
for in the
wicked,
studio.
man.
You got to recoup all that
All
money
of
for
it.
them. And if
All-
you don't, that means you are now in debt. Right?
Absolutely.
So
They
if
own
you
your
crazy,
ass.
Yeah, they own your ass.
That is
So they
crazy.
right, yeah, and they own your masters. They own everything, right?
Which is how stuff
All-
like
right,
this
but-
happens.
but-
which
but
is
wait,
how
this is
records
crazy,
like
though.
this come out in
and
2002.
then it gets even crazier. It gets even crazier because I personally know an artist who was rather famous, and he told me he got stuck in an 8-record deal.
Damn.
And for all 8 albums, he was in debt.
Telling you, bro.
Oh.
It
no.
was crazy. It took him literally, I think, 10 years to get out of that deal.
It's crazy.
10 years of his life. Now, keep in mind, this individual, who I'm not going to say his name, he had hit records. And for 10 years straight, he was absolutely broke.
Damn.
Insane.
He
It's
ain't the
insane.
only one. That's the
ain't the
thing. Like,
only
there's
one.
very few actual
Right.
successful
Right.
Yeah.
rappers out here. Like
Yeah.
it's all smoke and mirrors. They
Yep.
make it seem like, oh yeah, I got this, I got that.
Yeah,
like, it's
see
all for the
Busta Rhymes'
camera.
ridiculous chain that he's been wearing around last year. That whole thing that he was wearing around
Right,
the whole
right.
time is like, God damn.
I don't know, man.
You know what I'm
Like,
saying? There's not that much that really
all
touched
of
that
that.
paper. It's
Yeah,
all an
yeah,
illusion.
where it's theirs, like where it's actually
Right.
their money.
Mr. Solo
Exactly.
Key, what's good? Welcome.
So, and that's the problem, is that fake illusion is being sold over and over and over. So that's why most people now, they don't want to go into a trade. They're like, I want to be a rapper. I want to be a rapper. I want to be
Yeah.
a rapper. It's like, okay, but do you know what it takes to be that and what that
Yeah.
actually is and what you have to sacrifice?
People find out how difficult it is and they run the fuck away from it. They turn away to either to do other genres or just stay out of music to begin with because they thought hip hop would be easy. And what they don't realize is a lot more involved, a lot more difficult, a lot more suppressive than every other genre out there when it comes down to it. And before I forget this, I want to mention one
Man,
thing that I
Casey,
did during this whole time on
I'm with
here.
you.
One of the most profound moments I've ever had in music was at the Gathering of the Juggalos in 2011 or 2010 it was. And Tech Nine was on the stage, right? The main stage. The biggest crowd of the gathering. You're talking that year, there were a lot, like over 10,000 people there. It was a pretty big, sizable crowd. Later on, we opened up for him when he was in Phoenix. And to be able to tell Tech in person, yo, that shit that you said at the gathering, when you said that you're going to make mainstream come to you, you're not going mainstream, they're going to come to us, is what you said. When you said that, it gave me goosebumps. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, I said, that shit gave me goosebumps. It's like, oh, I appreciate that. And like, this was after, 3.5 years, 4 years of opening up for Tech and, being, associated.
Man, that's funny
in
too, because that
way.
sounds exactly like Tech too. The way you said that, he said, "Hey, I appreciate that." Like,
Yo, he
that's
is
for
so
real.
humble from the very beginning. From the first time that we opened up for him, and he's held backstage just to give us dap after we left, and told us that our he liked our shit, and just communicating with him afterwards, and from the time that our last association was when he drove all the way down to the studio after the show you know, and that same one that I was talking about earlier with the Tech 9E40 thing that my wife was at, you know, she was with me at the studio, you know, they drove 45 minutes, 10 cars deep at 2:00 in the morning
That's
to get
dope.
to, you know, and that was the second
Word.
time Strange was over at the studio, which was a pyramid that I used to work at, and the studio was underneath the pyramid, you know, and that was a dope situation. But like those are
I'm sorry
moments in
to
hip hop.
interrupt, brothers, and sister, but listen, I got to get ready to step out. I got another engagement I got to get to. But mad respect and love to everybody on the call.
Yeah,
Enzo,
appreciate you.
please reach out to me, man. I definitely want to connect with you, man. And
Definitely.
you know, yeah, I'll man. If you think I'm kidding, I'm not kidding about you know, just like pulling up in Sweden on you, man. You gonna be like, yo, this dude's down the block
What the
for
fuck?
real.
He really came up
He's
here.
like right down
he
the
really
block.
came up here on
This
that
dude
shit,
is
didn't
this
he?
dude is
motherfucker.
literally down the street, you know, like yeah, that's me for real. And it's all love, you know. But definitely guys, everybody who's in the various different chats too, you know, mad love and respect to all of you as well. Looking forward to seeing you guys again. Hopefully we definitely will do this again, Brother
Yeah.
Viral.
Yeah.
I know we're gonna resume our, you know, our normal
And we
Sundays,
knocked out like
but
the
we'll do
entire
this.
list, all those things that I said.
Oh,
we gotta hit
dope.
this bullet point.
Super
we gotta hit
dope.
this bullet point. Like we hit all of them just about. You know, I don't
Oh,
think
super
I'm
dope,
looking at
super
them
dope.
right now, and I don't see one here that we did not touch down on. I don't, you know, I mean,
So
there's,
I'm gonna throw something out there real quick before I get off. So T-Sketch, Enzo, Brother Hanzo,
Sir.
I was thinking maybe what we can do, and we'll get Recon and we'll get the, you know, symptoms of reality back. Maybe we could do a crazy ass collabo song, and for all the rappers who actually rap, yo, we gonna get it, yo.
hit him with the "We Are the World" rap
Let's jump.
song in
Yeah, let's-
2025.
yeah, let's do some. Let's do some We Are the
We Are
World
Your
type shit
Motherfucking
for
Ass,
real, our
cuz.
consciousness. You know what I mean?
I'm with it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. T-Sketch,
I read it.
Appreciate you, son. Thanks
I'm
for
in it.
thanks for coming through on this
Yeah, no
episode
doubt.
of this show that is named after yourself on this
I
day that is
appreciate
named
that,
after
y'all.
the show.
I appreciate that.
That's that
I don't even-
universal
I don't even know
tie-in
how it got-
bullshit.
I will hope that he's here. It's
I don't
called
even
Sundays.
know how it became, you know.
Can't have an
Sundays
episode of
with Sun,
Sundays
you know?
without I Am the One Son.
You know,
So
that is trippy, and I always love Viral for that, man. My
episode
man,
13,
we
God damn
did
it.
that. Hey, we did. Lucky number 13. That's what's up.
We did that shit.
And it's a portal day too.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, for real. And
25,
T-
25, 25, 25.
Yes, ma'am. T-Sketch, I gotta tell you something. You're gonna have to help me because
I love that.
I gotta put some shelves behind me, and I think I'm gonna decorate that whole top of the wall right here with nothing but old school hip hop albums.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
That is
So
dope.
you gotta help me coordinate
Yeah,
because
that's
I know you got that eye.
I'm
And
gonna send
Hanzo,
you.
I need you
I'm
to
gonna
help
send
me
you
set
your
up
first
my
record.
my
I'm gonna
stuff
send you
hardware
something.
wise, man.
Hey,
'Cause
man.
as you can see, it look like a hot mess in here, don't it? Look.
Oh, it's
That's
fine. You said it
fine.
looked like a hot
It's
mess. It's
fine.
all clean and organized and shit. Get the
Paulo
fuck
looks
outta
like his
here. Go
wall
take
looks
care
like
of
he's
your
in the
family,
same
son.
universe as me.
Yeah,
Right? Y'all
I'm
are
pretty
in the
sure.
same
I'm sure
galaxy.
it's actually the same district. P.
No doubt. All right, guys. Hey, look.
Lord, take care,
blessings
man.
to everybody, and hey, everybody, keep that high frequency, okay?
Yeah,
All
appreciate
right,
it.
yeah.
I'll talk to y'all
All
soon.
day.
All right.
Peace
Peace
out.
Yeah,
out.
bro.
Take care.
All
man.
right, later,
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, and then there were 4, you know, and it's crazy because
We in the
like,
square.
you know, yeah, now we back on here we go, lovely lady. Or which way? This way? I gotta go this way. My homie's over here on the side of me. We
But
got
yeah,
Apollo over there in the corner. Yeah, I mean, we touched down on pretty much everything that we wanted to. We may have not got into the weeds as much as we would like to on other things, but that's what future conversations are for. One thing I was telling Son about, and it's something that I plan on doing with the channel, and I encourage not only everybody out there who's interested in hip hop, but you guys as well. You know, I'm going to start doing a regular series on where to find hip hop, whether it be a cipher, the music, the records, the production tools, whatever it is, you know, community organizing shit, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, I think a big part of our contribution to hip hop here on the channel is going to be I mean, we're already doing kind of putting people on notice. Yo, this is where you find hip hop in these stories. You know, a lot of it's within the records, you know, within the resurgence of vinyl. So, you know, hooray for that. That's dope as hell, you know. Tyrone Sellers. Oh, now I could shout loud. Tyrone Sellers. See, that was smooth, not loud.
What's good, Tyrone?
Thanks, man.
What's good, Tyrone? It's
Nice
your
to
boy, man,
see
from
y'all
Sweden.
all together at once. Yeah, you
Salute
know.
to the chat, man. I can't see the chat, but salute to y'all.
Oh,
I
yeah,
am
that's
streaming
right,
on my
yeah.
channel, but
That's what
Yeah.
I gotta do. I gotta make it to where the chat pulls up on the screen when we have multiple people, so everybody could see the chat instead of just logging in through our phones and doing whatever.
yeah,
Especially
man.
because you
We
guys
out
are,
here though. Hip hop is alive and well.
hell yeah, yeah, and it's cool that you guys streamed from your channels and shit, and Creac's giving this behind the scenes and all this shit. Yeah, we're over here talking this mess, you know. And yeah, you know, I think we're gonna start doing that, just showing people where to find hip hop, you know, as we see it. You know, I really appreciate you, Tyrone. Tyrone has been around since the earlier days too, you know, and he's one of those friendships that we've known for, you know, years. You know, going through it, you know. It's just it's crazy how this all works, you know, and the hip hop tie-in is something to be said, you know, about that. So. Does anybody have anything else they would like to add? Any conversations, you know, that you want to add to the equation here? You know, there's we're gonna have more of these.
What I say, what we need, Viral, the fact that female producers only make 6.5%, we gotta change that, bro.
Damn,
Yeah, I agree.
that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know they're out there, you know what I'm saying? And salute to Sarah to Hill. There's a lot of the dope females that I see,
Yeah.
but it's like
Sarah's real dope.
like we need to uplift, you know what I'm saying, the females, because the males been out here doing their thing, and it's no
and
shade
fucking
to them,
it up
you know what I'm
too,
saying?
fucking it up
Yeah.
like men do. You know what I mean? Like we're out here, you know, we got these extreme situations and all that, you know, these parties and all that other shit. You know, it's like. I know with people in power and all that other stuff, it's like, I think it's starting to happen. Like people are taking notice. One of the artists that really surprised the hell out of me is Doechii, and I
Yeah,
really
yep.
Tiny Desk Concert is what brought me to her. You know, it's not that I don't listen to other people's music, and I've said this before, as a producer, as an MC, as an artist, you know, you get so bogged down in your own work, you don't really got time to listen to other things. And to that effect, for me personally or professionally, I don't want to be influenced by anybody's style, so I try to stay away as much as I could. But
I
there
feel that.
are a few artists and records and people that break through, and I always listen to my friends. And she's just one of those artists that broke through, and I was like,
Well, when
Yo,
you
kinda-
have Lauryn Hill giving you your flowers, that's a big ass deal.
seeing her,
'Cause for women, like listen, Lauryn Hill is just, I don't care if she has that one album, I will play back and
Yeah.
forth to this day. That is a class. She's saying some shit
yeah,
in that album, you know what I'm saying? And like her talent's out of here.
from the beginning,
So like
everything she's ever spit, you know, like,
everything.
it's-
That's what I'm saying. So, and
You
that's one of
know?
my influences. So I think that there's a lot of cattiness when it comes to women. I don't know
Yeah.
why. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like, can we just
it's
cut the
that
bullshit
woman thing.
Yeah,
you know,
can we
that,
cut
that
the
Family Guy?
bullshit
Find women
and
fighting.
actually
Wait, no, wait,
uplift
just
each
find
other?
women.
Like,
They'll
yeah,
be fighting.
actually uplift each other. Don't be like smiling at somebody's face and then hating in the back. Like,
Yeah, don't
if
be
we don't
dissing
vibe,
their
that's one
outfit and
thing.
shit when they got bars that'll wrap circles around the fucking universe and shit.
Yeah,
you know what
and
I
I
mean?
don't want to. I don't want to force nothing. Like, if we don't vibe, that's what I'm saying. Everything has to be all right. Let's see. Let's be in the same space. Do we vibe? Do we? If we don't vibe, that's cool. But we ain't gotta hate each other. You know what I'm saying?
I
That's
would-
another thing. Is like the whole like we could agree to disagree type shit.
Yeah,
You know, like I don't like the whole like, oh, let's pity. It's like,
Yeah.
yo, we have too much division in general.
yeah.
As humans, you know what I'm saying? As a species, we have too much division, and that's all you see. And then it's like, oh, drama, oh, they get mad views. Like
Yeah.
just like if you and I beef, Viral, that'll go viral.
If we make a thing out of it,
Pun
and like
intended.
battle and like,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. If we make a whole production out of it too, like, oh shit, it's be Wild World of Sports and shit. You know, we
I'm
make a whole
telling
thing
you.
about
And it's
it.
like, and then that's when you start wondering, like, okay, now we in the WWE of hip hop where
Yeah.
what's real and what's fake, because we all know that drama sells. So like, are you really beefing, or you just beefing for the camera? Are you
Yeah.
beefing for the bag? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Speaking of drama, like even back in the days, like when okay, let's say the Jay-Z and Nas, right, beef, for example, right?
Yeah.
It was something that was really most of it was like either business or just straight up beefing, right? And today people don't do that no more. Like they don't offer the friend to make money out of it. Rather they rather try to destroy the other person, even by using violence as well. Because look at 50 Cent, for example, right? There was this one interview he did where he offered Chameleon like by dissing him, but Chameleon never dissing back.
Right.
And he was actually like, well, I offered this guy something, if he would have like, dissed me back, would earn a lot of money together. But Chameleon didn't understood that because he wasn't writing, but he wasn't doing the fake shit.
Right.
Right. So a lot of like this today for me is just mad weird, like especially with the rise of drill, the early 2017 or 18,
Yeah.
like that, where they use violence, they shoot each other, and then they go and snitch on themselves, basically
Right.
tell them like, I
Absolutely.
killed
Yeah, like
you, I
the
killed your
Tekashi
homie, what you gonna do
6ix9ine
about it?
shit. Yeah, all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of shit.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's like it's spiral, because to the point where now, like, I like drill because I like the rhythms. My
Yeah.
background is Caribbean, so I love like rhythm within rhythm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, most of it is hella negative, and most of
Yeah.
it you got babies killing babies out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they don't care. And like you said, they'll live stream, they'll talk about it on the song. They'll be like, everybody snitching. No,
Crazy.
you
The
self
exposure,
snitching.
yeah.
Y'all are snitching on yourselves.
But that's the whole
You
point
know?
of us being able to properly educate, but not only with that proper education, the right tools to have the power to be able to educate. So it's good that some of us in our generation and Gen X are starting to get the keys to be able to dictate some of these narratives. And hopefully with all this, awareness of the way that things have existed in this industry for so long, that we'll be able to write new rules and do certain things. To your point, T-Sketch, I would really love to see an all-female hip-hop panel exist. And
Absolutely.
why we haven't had that yet, we've had, especially with this battle rap shit, like we've had zeitgeist after zeitgeist YouTuber, Screwface, Curtis King, shout out to the homies, Company Man, like everybody's been doing their thing. And,
Yep.
to borrow a phrase from him, it's all happening. Well, if it's all happening, where are the females at? There are a whole bunch of talented producers out here and females that are doing their thing, yourself included, like not only should we be bigging you guys up more, but like there should be a more connectivity space. And I think to your point, one of the problems with hip hop has been the entry being that battle culture. Like it's cool to have the competition, but I think we've taken it to a point. But to that point that it's been taken to, if it weren't for it being to that extreme of taking a boo-boo in the desert, shout out to Daylight, all these years later, here we are. That was 2012, and here we are 2025, and he's pulling 250 views after 5 hours doing a song, immersed in this battle.
Well, you bringing
that's
it back
going
to the
on.
essence of hip hop.
Bringing
You know
it
what I'm
back-
saying? And Kendrick was the catalyst to
The
that. You know what
bars,
I'm saying?
people
So
checking for hip hop again.
that's what I'm saying. And that's why it's beautiful. Like, regardless of the fact, like
Yeah.
they getting in there and people are like, oh, where the bars at? Well, they're
I
here.
need to get up in here. Where's my pen?
They're here. And
Even though
also,
we're hearing that
we
diss
ain't, we
track
ain't
against
suing.
it.
We
Yeah.
ain't suing. We ain't doing none of that.
Yeah.
Because that don't even make sense. Because now you're gonna, if that actually shifts what people say, that's crazy. Like, we have freedom
It
of speech.
would
If
change
you're gonna sit
forever.
there and be like, you can't say this in a rap, what the hell is the point, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
It's
what is
really
the point
weird.
if you're gonna say, oh, well, we're gonna censor this and we're gonna, like, here we go with the fucking control shit.
Yeah.
Excuse my language, but
It's cool. We're quiet
it's-
language on here.
yeah, it's sickening because it's like now it's a whole nother level of control. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, now you're stealing something else from our culture. Now you're like, oh, now we get to control the battle rap now.
And
Now
see,
we get to control what y'all say and what y'all talk about. Nah, man.
And
Like,
that's
yo, if you enter the battle, you know the deal.
Yeah.
There's no holds barred. Oh well.
no rules on
Oh,
language.
well.
There's no rules on language in battle rap. And especially if you're talking about somebody's intricacies of who they are to the heart of it, because that's the whole point of it. It doesn't matter that you're saying something, whether or not it's true. The fact is, does it punch better? Because if it does and those bars land better than the other, the person wins, whether it's truthful or not. The fact is, you have the right and the open space to say that kind of shit. And the minute these lawsuits start coming in, and as soon as that judgment is hit and you can't say those things forevermore, our culture has changed. So, like, having that kind of popularity to where it's gone this far in the zeitgeist, they're trying to figure out what to do with it, but at the same time still attempting to dictate the narrative the same way that they always have. The only way to shift that is by dictating the narrative, to grabbing the ball ourselves and running with it and just being like, yo, this is how we're going to set the rules here in place. But who's in charge for setting these rules? Those who are in charge of the everything, streaming platforms, you know.
Well, that's
like,
the thing. We need to not
Essentially-
relinquish power. That's the problem.
That's why I'm
because
not on
these
street
streaming
plan. That's why we
platforms
got rid of
are
street
like slavery.
Yeah.
They want to pay you cents on the dollar, some
Yep.
0.003 cents,
Yep.
and talking about, oh, create music is
Carbon
not
vibes,
hard.
it's
Just like
good.
that Suno CEO, that idiot talking about,
Yeah.
oh, nobody wants to sit there and make music. Like, what the hell are you talking about, bro?
Yeah.
Like, we're creatives. How are you going to sit there and tell me that I don't want to sit and cook? Talk about, oh, most people don't want to spend the time to
Then why the
create
fuck do I
music.
sit on your channel
What?
for 7.5 hours on a Saturday? Like,
That's what I'm
seriously,
saying.
like, most ain't most to most people. Like, motherfuckers don't know what most is and what most isn't. They just know their circle and what their perception of their reality of what the rest of humanity is. It's crazy. The way
Just like
these fools
Spotify
operate.
CEO too. Like
Yeah, God,
they're
man, that
so
big-headed
far.
yeah, and the amount of salary
removed.
he's taken this year, and
That's what I'm saying. But you don't want to pay us. Talking about you got to get 1,000 streams before we even pay
or it
you.
needs to go
Who
to the bigger
hell-
artist first, or the industry and all that. Yeah.
It's not it, man. And then one more point. If it gets that far to where that lawsuit affects us, now you're gonna have to go into the hip hop dark web to the point where it's gonna be illegal to spit bars.
How far are you going to tuck this culture? You know, it's
like we're
already
gonna
been
have to
tucked under-
hide to spit truth.
Yeah, it's already been tucked under the standard that you guys have set in the industry, you know, and that's, you know, how mumble rap and all that shit became popular, and how, you know, all this stuff. It's cool because it comes full circle, and in the end, you know, people are checking for hip hop and boom bap is in and all that other stuff, which means the education is coming through. People are starting to learn things and, you know, going through it, but also the fight against it is real. And that's where AI comes in. We didn't even really touch down on that, but like the fight against our independence as musicians, not only that, but more so as hip hop artists, come from the AI stuff and the production tools that we make, which is why they're trying to get us away from sample-based production and, you know, all this other stuff, and creating problems with copyright law and all kinds of other, you know, anti-universal naturalist types of things that like are just forms of compartmentalizations that we've placed upon ourselves as far as the restrictions go. That's a human thing, not a universal truth of, you know, the spiritual realm or anything like that, you know. And I think this fight is real, you know, and I think this battle is, you know, is as much as we've lost battles, I think the war is being won. And I think this shift in narrative and perspective with the whole battle rap stuff and everything that has come full circle with it, I think it's helping, you know. And I really encourage anybody out there who embraces this culture to like be out there and embrace this culture in a real way and expose this culture to those who are less informed and make them realize like, hey, this is not just our music. This is music.
It's a way of life.
And it's the biggest genre that has existed in music, period. You know, since we
Absolutely.
started compartmentalizing genres, you know, not just hip hop, but all the subgenres as well. You're talking about the biggest thing to ever exist.
Before I dip into sleep, I just have to say that like we in the music industry today, I think for me, from my perspective, at least, it's like a battlefield where every foot soldier trying to prove themselves to
Yeah.
the commanders and the captains. And these commanders, captains are like your manager and the guy who owns, like, the studio or the company, the record label you're assigned to.
Yeah.
Basically try to do your best. So whatever they give you an order to do, you just go ahead and do it. It doesn't matter as long as there's more quantity out in the field where we can consume, we the consumers are listening and they're earning money. That's what does matter to them.
Yeah.
So like in order like for like hip hop to be hip hop again, we need to cut like ties with these big industries.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like on like a massive scale because if we stop listening to this little that little this no this like they won't be popular as they will be today. But today a lot of young people don't care about like speaking actual facts, like rhyming.
No.
You
Yeah.
know, it's just the vibe, something like vibe. Oh yeah, I heard this. This is so dope, man. Yeah. Lean, sit this and that. Like
Yeah.
back in the
But that
days, like
brings you to another mind state. That's why.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what like back in the days, people were like rapping about trying to get out of the
And now
hood.
they're drug addicts.
And
Exactly. Now
yeah.
they're rapping about
And see, that's the thing about it. To your point exactly, like all this stuff, like people want to be healed with music. People want to get through their day. They want something that's going to make them feel less shitty. They're not trying to hear, and yeah, there's times where you call for aggressiveness and you got that aggressive song or whatever or feel to it, but in the end they're looking for a profound experience that maybe not changed their life, but some people are looking for that too. It just ends up changing their life because they have that profound moment. Listen to it in the moment that they're having their shitty day, and it gets them through that shitty day. There, connection made.
Right.
These tools and these things and these industry standards of the way that things have systemically been around and existed have just been suppressive, of all that, and being able to, to break through, is something that we all need to realize that genuine experience is what is most craved by the listener. So providing that experience is our duty as musicians, not just in hip hop, but in music in general. If we are going to take the initiative and go out there and do it, we have to do it in the right way. And that especially is true with hip hop music. And I think all these conversations and the stuff going on the way that it is, even the bad stuff and the Diddy parties and all that, we need to know exactly what needs to be fixed before we learn how to fix it. Even though we have our ideas now, what we're going to do once we get the keys, we still don't have the keys yet, not completely, but we will soon. And when we do, we have a chance to rewrite this whole thing. But in order to do that, we got to be honest with ourselves. Yeah, and we have to plan.
And you need information because like
information.
I think the basis of everything, like for example, there's times that I like to listen to ratchet music. I don't care about the message at that point. I have my records that are hella ratchet and I like them.
Yeah.
But like, I know the difference between, oh yeah, they saying this, they saying that, but I'm not out there like, yeah, I'm about to go be like that. I'm about to do. And that's the thing. I think that's the difference of the lack of information when a parent is letting their kids listen to something and they're like, okay, you're listening to this, but remember that at the base is entertainment, and what you're hearing, most likely 90% of it is not true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, information is very important. Like, and communication so that everybody knows where we're at. We all have different moods. So of course we're going to listen to different kinds of music. You might be in a uplifting mood. You might be in I want to hear a message. I want to be motivated, or you might be sad. Somebody broke up with you. So you want to hear that that breakup music, but I think it's the lack of information and also the blurring of what's real and what's not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's time to unblur those lines.
Right. Because then you're like, because there's people that will
Take care,
You know-
Creax. Thanks for
Hello,
coming
bro.
through. I see he's about to fall out on stream in front of all of us.
You
Yo,
sound
get some
right,
rest,
man.
my friend. Take care. The blow up. Hey, man, it's good having you, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, yo, it's my
Thanks for
favorite,
getting me back into, rapping and shit. You know what I mean? I knew I wasn't done. I just, trying to be a fool to myself. There you go.
But shout out to you guys, man. Shout out to you, Vira, for having me. For though, I really appreciate you connecting me to really good people. I really learned a lot, just by being here today. And hopefully, I can do this a lot more when I'm fully
Awake.
Yeah, your camera fell too, by the way, when you said that. So it's perfect. Goes right in line with
sleepy,
what you're saying here.
Yeah,
What's up, Air
yeah.
Spider?
But yeah, man.
Salute to you,
Oh,
Enzo.
shit.
Good to
Okay.
meet you.
Yeah, nice
Take
meeting you.
care.
man.
Take care,
All right,
Enzo.
cheers, man. How do you
Peace,
end this,
peace.
though?
So, speaking of Air Spider, and this is a good note to end it on over here. Thanks for being the homie that tells me that I got a boogie in my nose, like for real. Because okay, so here's the deal. Here's the deal with this record here, and I'll let you guys know here. And I'm doing this content on it here. When it comes to this, what I was just celebrating as picking up an obscure Biggie verse or whatever, this turns out, instead of 1993, which you would rightfully assume be the case, especially with Spliff Star and all them having the associations with Biggie and all them, that it was from that era. But it turns out in the end, there is a vocal tag on here that pointed it to 2002, where Spliff Star had taken this from a mixtape by DJ Vlad and DJ Dirty Harry, and it was pretty popular. It was a mixtape out there. It was where I heard this verse, because I heard that verse before, especially that Stretch Armstrong line, and I know that he said specific lines in other raps before, but the thing that creeps me out about the whole thing is I didn't even recognize the 50 Cent beat, because it was that What Up Gangsta, and it didn't even click with me after I got the copyright claim from YouTube that it was that. But also I was thinking here, a lot of those songs, and a lot of beats were dictated by samples that came from other things. So maybe he sampled it from that record. The fact that they all had associations, before, and then the tie-in and all that other stuff. It's just a crazy, crazy thing. But in the end, it was after Biggie passed that it was put out and profited on. And for that reason alone is reason enough to pull it. But telling the full story instead of my bullshit celebration that I was taken down a peg by our friend Air Spider, who's been supportive of the channel since the very beginning, and was working doing mixtapes. And I mentioned it during the beginning of this stream. He was the one who called me out on the boogie in my nose, and we all had questions, when it was stumping our friends from New York, and we were just trying to figure it out. I wasn't trying to figure it out. I was just celebrating the Biggie verse, and you guys are like, oh, that ain't right, and it's like I got a big old thing of content to go through on it, because it reflects the desperation in this industry, and especially during that era, which was the official mixtape era, because everybody was putting mixtapes of everything out during that time. No, you didn't take me down. You did the exact thing that you were required to do as a person in this culture. Not that you were supposed to do that or whatever, but it's what needed to happen, because if it weren't for that, we wouldn't have the information. I wouldn't be able to do the second video telling the truth. If you're going to represent hip-hop, you got to represent it right. That means the story as it sits. Fuck the narrative. Tell the story as it is and what it was. And what it was is not what I thought it was, or not we thought it was, because the perception of reality, when you look at this record that says it's a flip mode record, ain't got shit to do with it. So I heard the conviction in your voice and knew it was something else. Yeah, and for me, it was just celebrating the moment that, hey, this Biggie verse, after he passed away, made its way to, Vancouver, Washington out of all these years. But what I incorrectly, and rightfully so, made the assumption of 1993 New York, comes down to a lot more nefarious plot of sorts. And it is a very interesting story. So I appreciate you exposing me to that. It made me think twice about that Pharrell beat, which I was like, oh, that is a Pharrell beat. how the fuck did this shit exist, way after Biggie died? Yeah, because that shit was hijacked and used as a promotional thing oh my God. The story's crazy. The story's fucking crazy. I'd rather
Beats
tell
get
you
hella
rather than,
recycled.
and the thing is, Air Spider says, I would rather tell you rather than a stranger. But this is the thing. You didn't just tell me. You provided links with details and even the discrepancies that you had on the information on why the fuck and how the fuck this record even came about. We figured it out. This fool did some shady shit to try to get on before he fucking, developed his solo career. And we're going to talk about it because that shit's a hip-hop exclusive thing. Even though records and mixtapes and all that other shit, there's something about getting on and something about the desperation when people hijack a verse, and the thing that trips me out about is that Spliff Star, and Flip Mode, they were associated with Biggie. They were in his video, in his first video. That's why I put the shots of him. As a matter of fact, isn't that Spliff Star being pushed aside by Biggie? That's Spliff, isn't it? I'm not 100% sure about that, but I know Busta was in that, and the whole Flip Mode squad was in that first Biggie video. So being there at the moment that Biggie popped, I would rightfully assume that a promotional record with Biggie on it would be from that era, especially because there's nothing listed other than Discogs about it online, and even that, it's not like there's Wikipedias with this information and all that other stuff, but God damn, if you're going to represent hip-hop, you represent it right. Tell the right story. So I pulled the video, not just because of the song, but because I want to take myself down a peg. And thank you for, taking the boogie out of my eye, or at least being like, hey, you got a boogie over there. Take it out. Wasn't my fault. I just picked up a $4 record from a store and listened to it. That was all I did. I didn't want to do research on the record or how it came about, but I did. And when doing that research, all I found was something completely different from what it actually was, thanks to some of our friends who are actually in there. It is essentially a three-track Spliff Star mixtape on vinyl. Yeah, derived and pulled from that other mixtape. Basically, he took the Flip Mode thing and did a thing, or took that and added it to the Flip Mode thing, because those records came at the same time. Not 1993 and 2003. It was 2002, 2003. Fucking crazy shit, man. And hearing DJ Vlad on one of his old mixtapes after all these years, after hearing him in this space, in this zeitgeist, is fucking weird. That shit bugged me out. But, you got to remember how Vlad made his come up and shit. And he did that shit. It was taking these old records, mixing them together with the new records that were popping out there. And he funded his whole enterprise from that. So shout out to him.
Sure enough. Hey, I gotta go get some dinner, guys. But hey, nice.
It's cool. We're wrapping it up.
And
Nice to meet you, Apollo.
hey, everybody out there, have a good one. And
appreciate you. Thank you for
As
joining
usual.
in on the
All right.
conversation. Yeah, I really appreciate you. Yeah, when Vlad blends the Biggie freestyle over Andy Up, God level mixing skills. Yeah, and it's funny because I remember that tape during that time because it had all those obscure Biggie verses, not just the mainstream ones, even some of the shit with Tupac in there. But it just goes to show you how things work in this industry and how desperate are people to get on it sometimes. And the fact that, once you dictate that and it's forever, it's forever immortalized. There's no getting away from that. Once you put the music out there, it's out there, even in a digital space. I mean, yes, you could go back on it and all that other stuff, but once you make physical material and put that music out, it's out. There's no coming back from it. So all these years later, just like you said, Air Spider, he trolled and got the desired effect just within the wrong generation, the wrong year. In 2025, you got me, Spliff Star. God damn it. But yeah, we'll be pointing that out, and I appreciate your input. And if it weren't for hip hop, that input would not have been received or even understood, not on a channel like this, not in a video like that. But it was already at 140 views after 16 hours, so it would have flown. Once it gets that 100 views in 24 hours, it flies in that secondary algorithm, and it was going to fly in that secondary algorithm. I want to make sure that if it flies in the algorithm, the whole story is told. So thank you again. Anyways, so yeah, that'll conclude it here. You know, as far as this discussion goes, you know, we had everybody drop off individually going through it, and I really appreciate you guys coming through. You especially, T-Sketch, because you were first on my list, even though I kind of approached you late with the whole thing because of what we had going on over here. But I really enjoy your hip hop. I love your production style. I love your motivation. I love your knowledge, the just everything, you know. And I really appreciate you from the bottom of my soul. You know,
I appreciate you too, Viral.
I know that's
100%.
pretty deep to say, and I kind of wanted to surprise you with that track and be like, oh yeah, I'll be rapping and shit too. Just be like, yo, but I hope that my bars did justice on your piece of music, because that's all I wanted to do with it. And I was like, yo, I don't think I could do any better to this track.
Yeah, I don't, you know, I think that the message is like, I think that song was very on time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I love what you did with it, because once I realized the beat you picked, and I was like, huh, wonder what he's gonna do to it. And when I heard it, I said, oh, okay. Now you're not just, you know, I mean, you could rap, you know, you're just not rapping to rap, like you're actually saying some shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best gift, to be able to inspire that.
I love that.
I think that's the reason why I cook, man. Like, I started making beats for me so I could rap over, but like, I've been wanting artists to get all my stuff, and I'm like, there's been so many times that I wanted to give up. I'm like, ain't nobody, you know what I'm saying? Because literally before you, I only have 2 other rappers. You know, I posted it on
crazy.
and
you got
on
like
my
a whole
post.
catalog on BeatStars. Like, you have a whole
Right.
thing.
I mean, that's only like 100 beats. You know, I mean, I got thousands of beats in my drive. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm looking to, you know, collaborate more, and I just want to be able to be that canvas for other people. You know what I'm saying? And because hip hop saved me, hip hop healed me, and I'm hoping that my music can do the same with others. You know, inspire others to whatever story they got to tell. You know what I'm saying? Like, just go with it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just blessed. I'm blessed to be able to get better as time goes on, because it's 20 years next year that I'm producing.
That's the move.
So,
yeah.
You know,
sure.
it's been a long time, but I've learned a lot from FL Studio 3. That's what I started on.
That's what I started on production. That when I got into
Exactly.
digital tools, that was my first DAW. It was Fruity Loops 3. I got out of it right when they started doing lifetime updates. I got my lifetime updates, and then I started college after that when I was 26 years old, and started with Logic Pro 8. You know, I started teaching that shit in the colleges. I was like, fuck FL, I don't need that shit. And they started calling it that year because that was when the Kellogg's lawsuit hit. You know, and that shit was real, you know, but we still call it Fruity Loops because it was really called Fruity Loops. We ain't clowning on FL, you know. FL, you know, Felicia's got a different name back then.
Exactly. You know? I call her Felicia.
FL Yana.
But and you know, it's crazy because I didn't really take it serious when I first started, because I was just like, oh, this is just for me. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, of course, I started on the cracked version. I'm good now. I'm not cracked anymore.
Yeah.
Don't try to get me in trouble, y'all. Mine is paid for.
I got a CD that had Pro Tools, Fruity Loops 1, 2, and 3. 1 was just the 4-track, so it was nothing, and then 2 always crashed, so 3 was the only one that worked. So, you know, it's crazy after all these years, you know, you get going on these production tools that are just kind of standard, and you're like, oh, wait, I've been on this for a minute. I'm kind of a wizard on here, you know, and you just like don't even realize. And that's the thing. If there's any parting wisdom I could give to anybody and aspiring to do any kind of hip hop is to realize your dopeness. Because we spend a lot of time just in the weeds making the music. We're not egocentric as much as ego-driven as, you know, hip hop is or whatever. You know, when your heart's in it and you're doing the music in a real way, in a profound way, you know, you don't be thinking about that shit, you know. But after a while, you start realizing like, oh wait, I'm good at this, and I think all that negative shit and, you know, suppression algorithms and all the, you know, stuff that happens to you in life situation, financial circumstances, I think that gets you to thinking like, maybe it's because I'm not good enough. Maybe it's
Yeah.
because I don't know this. Maybe it's because I haven't learned this. But there comes a point in your time to where you have to realize your dopeness. You have to realize how dope you really are. And I just really, through the experience of becoming more unapologetically myself in my older age, through that transition, I started realizing, yo, I'm fucking dope. Like, and I'm not saying that with ego or anything like that. It's just I'm dope at this, I'm dope at this, I'm dope at this, I'm dope at this. Like I could do these multiple things because I've been gathering up these skills and techniques that I've been putting into practice for decades now. And you start doing that and you realize, oh shit, we have so much more to offer because we know all these things and we could do it. And it's just about realizing your own dopeness and being able to put that into play, into practice, and have it translate, the right way. And one thing I want to get through, and this is to you specifically, I have a song that I have been working on for a couple years now. And it's a whole thing about this ageism stuff or whatever. It's got this hip hop middle and this end. I've worked on it publicly over here. You know, I produced it on the Fantom and everything like that. The very first verse is not for me. I finally realized that first I knew that I needed a female vocal, but I also need a female spoken word. But more so, I need somebody who really believes and has that passion for the message in the music. And the irony, there's no ironies in this universe, but the irony in this is that you and your voice say the exact same thing every time you communicate as I am on this record. Everything. And I would like to know, would you like to be that first verse leading into the track? It's the closer on Hip Hop Undead. It's the very last song.
Yeah.
It's the end.
You sent it to me.
And I through this in the beginning, when we connected and the beat and everything, I was like, this who needs to be on this track. I've known this since then. Like, this who needs to be on it. I just haven't asked you yet. So I'm asking you right now. You want to be on this song?
I'm down. Just send it to me.
All right, I'll send it to you, and I'll send you the videos of working on it, and I'll get going on it. I'm going to do the Creax track with that drill shit first. But with that, it's been sitting for a couple years now because I've been waiting for this moment to be able to perfect this in the right way. And your voice, with everything that you are as an artist, belongs there. And with us having this connection, it's fucking natural, it's just like, oh shit, I already know people like this. What the hell? Like,
Yeah,
hey,
man.
so you want to get
I
on this song?
appreciate
Like, I should have known this whole time.
Absolutely. Because I need to, I need to hold myself more accountable because I've been so much in the production state, like just production. It's like beat. It's like my soul is feeding to spit because I've been rapping since I was 13.
Yeah.
I got books upon books. I don't ever got to rhyme again. I got albums upon albums, but I still do my thing. I have my phone. I'll grab my book. I'll write bars. They pop.
Hell
I can't get away from it. They just pop into
it
my
never
head.
goes away. Yeah.
Yeah. As many times as I quit rapping, I probably quit rapping like 200 times.
So let's do like MC Hammer and get it started.
So yeah, it'll be good because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking just to be able to spread my wings as an artist too, because I feel like I don't show that side of myself because I've been so focused on getting dope as a producer, like get doper. And then I've been obsessed with it, like to the point where I'm just like, I'm cooking so much that it's like, okay, T, like calm the hell down.
When you're
You
going to
put
be an
the
MC
shit out
again.
that you cook.
Well, here you
know
go.
what I'm saying?
Hopefully getting through it and, take your time with it because even if it takes 10 years, we'll release it then. You're the Quite a Year Already song, even though it kind of ages itself out, realistically, the way I'm thinking about this in my mind, this album's not going to be finished until the next season, like January to March, so that Quite a Year Already, depending on what happens, that's going to be hitting at the beginning of a year. So it's not going to be aged out anymore at that point. So I'm like looking at the time, there's no time frame on any of this, but, Yeah, yeah. So we have 4 minutes left in our Zoom meeting before it kicks us out. So I want to make sure, I say goodbye, on beforehand, so we're not just dramatically, oh, see you later, stream ended, But
Shout out to the chat, man. I appreciate you, Viral. Thank you for having me on. This was like amazing. I love talking
Fucking
about
dope.
hip hop. I love connecting with people. It's a beautiful thing. And
I can't wait to
anytime you
complete
need
the
me, I'm
song.
down. I'm down.
I went to the
Yeah.
studio to lay my verses too. Like I went to the local studio and paid $75 an hour for it and shit.
That's dope.
Like so, like
dope.
it's there where it needs to be. I might change some things production wise to a more hip hop thing, because it is there's hip hop in it, but it's kind of like it's a bigger song than that. And I don't mean to minimize the impact of hip hop. It's the closer, so there's a lot of diversity in it. But I needed a female MC, and there was just no way to get around with it being you. So like, I was like, oh, one of these times is going to be perfect for me to reach out and ask her. So hey,
Yeah.
fucking
I'm
universe,
down,
there
man.
you go. That shit.
It's all good. I'm down, and I'm very grateful, man. I appreciate it. Just anybody that gives me a chance to express myself, you know what I'm saying? Because that's something that I do very well when it comes to being poetic and just putting my pen to the pad. That's something that's how it started. That's how everything started.
Appreciate
Sketching.
ya.
That's why they call me T Sketch. I
This
started
is gonna
sketching, started
be good.
writing poetry, and then
And
I
it's
started
crazy,
rapping.
we're the same exact age too.
Yep.
Fuck y'all's ages, and we're about to make a hit here on accident. So yeah, I appreciate you guys coming through. Make sure after the fact, if you guys are not subscribed to T-Sketch, if you're not subscribed to anybody else who's here, thank you everybody who's been who's joined us here in the chat. Apollo Hanzo, Reconsider at Sketchpad Music, aka Recon, Creax, also known as Enzo over here in Sweden, and I really appreciate every one of you for showing up here, and make sure that you are subscribed to every one of these channels, and you keep an eye up on the space
This video, man.
and share.
I'm channeling Nino. Share this video, man.
Word. Anything you want to close us out? I'll give you the last word over here. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that thing, what you can to support the channels. And we'll be seeing you. And I'll give T-Sketch here the last word before we head out.
I say much love, much love to everybody. Make sure you stay creative, and remember that you're in control of everything. You know what I'm saying? We're co-creators for a reason. So don't let anybody tell you you can't live the life that you want, because you can. You got the power. You need to claim it. Peace.
Word. Take care, y'all.